Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races, such as the Daytona 24, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR schedule, such as the Daytona 500. We have events from disciplines all across the racing world, from the Indianapolis 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events utilize iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against every driver taking part. And as every race progresses, watch and feel the track change with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
3 rounds in the books, 3 vastly different sets of conditions. 4 rounds total the series, and the bull, you'll have to grab it by the horns, you'll have to wrestle it, and you'll have to drag the damn thing over the line. The qualifying series in 2026 has been like no other. Weather has made its mark. The drivers have made their mark. The safety car has caused us dramas. It's caused us tire swaps. It's caused us the whole blot. But all that matters is that you're in the top 16 in points or one final golden ticket. That is what stands between us and deciding the 2026 V8 Pro Invitational Field, proudly brought to us by our major partner in Logitech G. And I tell you what, Sandman, I've missed 2 rounds. I could not drag myself away from watching those rounds in the moments that I had. I've missed the best part of the season. It's already been and gone, and I wasn't even here the last 2 weeks.
G'day, Scotty. G'day, everyone, wherever you're watching around Australia or around the world. That's right, mate. We had some incredible racing, and I tell you what, your job might be on the line, buddy, because if we get a stale race, we might have to kick you out of the commentary box full time, because those 2 races were incredible. And it's like what you said, the racing action, all the drama that we had, and all the different ways that those races could have, should have, and did play out was unreal. You couldn't have asked for any better.
Mate, it's been epic. It has been drama-packed. And the big thing is, when you talk to a lot of the drivers, when you're actually trying to get yourself into this series, you want to have a quiet day at the office. If you're quick enough, you just need to log laps. You don't want a wet weather race. Last year, don't forget that race at Fuji where we had the massive fuel save. There was a few drivers who got that one right. There was a few drivers who got that one wrong. That was probably the biggest blue red mark on the driver's ticket last season. This season, weather got in the way. That's what it's been like in the qualifying series. Surprisingly, I'd actually rather call the qualifying series based on the last 2 years of form compared to how much safety car interventions we've had. 45 participants will make the series. 20 of them come from last season's results. Those guys are already locked in should they wish to accept their ticket. If they don't, the next one will be 17th from this pack. The next one will be 18th from this pack. But we have 4 more tickets that we had to hand out. 3 separate individual race winners have already been handed out. 1 more from tonight. Guess what? Not the only way into the series. Last year's co-driver class champion was Thomas McMillan from the Lobbs Esports teams. He will join the drivers on the grid in 2026. And then 4 wildcards. We know 2 of them, Emily Jones and Andre Heimgartner, are going to be joining the field. And well, there's been a few names thrown around for other ones, but the big thing is, mate, don't leave it to the wildcards. Point your way in. And this is what the points look like at the moment. Jake Burton is at the top of that list. And the critical fact for him is he's struggling to get back from testing days from the real world V8 supercars at the moment. The good news for him, he's just about locked in, provided our 16th place driver, Angus Lawford, doesn't score more than 156 points. Or anyone that's in that range scores more than 190 points to knock him out. They will not be able to. 1 driver will earn a golden ticket. Realistically, we're probably looking at Dylan Pereira, 172 points back, 18-point buffer realistically. Anybody who's outside 190 points cannot knock Jake Burton out. That's the mathematical equation we've got to play with.
Yeah, mate, there'll be pressure for Jake, isn't it? He's driven well. He's been consistent. He's had some good runs, but probably didn't get a golden ticket. I expected him to grab a golden ticket way before tonight. But look, at the end of the day, he's put himself in a good position, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if he doesn't make it back in time, that he's got enough points up his sleeve, because he's shown that he's obviously deserves to be in the series. It's just unfortunately real-world commitments with supercars has been away, and that takes him off the grid tonight, possibly, but we'll wait and see.
Well, the Red Bull Ring is where we're headed in Austria, right up here in the mountains, the hills of Austria. They're not alive with the sound of music tonight. They're alive with the sound of Gen 3 V8 supercars. Only 2 of them in the field here tonight. How long before we see the Supra joining the roster as we start to see it turning its real first laps in anger in the hands of the actual teams that will be wielding them? Spielberg and Styria. From 1969, when this place opened, the current layout since 2016, albeit you can decide whether or not you feel like there should be a chicane between turn 1 and turn 3, because MotoGP says yes, the rest of our sports cars say no. 10 turns, one of the shortest, fastest, sharpest layouts, high fuel burn. Tyre wear is a big problem. Which direction are you going to go with your setup in terms of things? V8 supercars, this place tends to be low grip because, well, they don't have a lot of downforce.
Yeah, I'm a no with the chicane. I do enjoy it for the MotoGP, but I love this as a racetrack for cars and for our supercars. It's a blessing that we've got it on the digital service, and I feel like I say it for a lot of our broadcasts. This track does have a little bit of everything, and I do love the undulation in it.
And the overtaking opportunity, I think, was one of the biggest things that we saw last year when we came to this place. One of the bigger things is year on year, this place tends to provide exciting racing. I'm a little bit disappointed this place actually isn't on the main game calendar. I think it's a great racetrack, and what I'm trying to say is I think it deserves that mainstay place on the main calendar. Speaking of all of our 12 rounds that are on offer here for the Logitech G V8 Pro Invitational Series. And by the way, we've got some information to talk to you before the rest of the night's out in terms of what we're looking at for Wednesday nights. Wednesday nights are going to be booked out for the year. This is what our V8 Pro Invitational Series does look out. Tonight, the final round of the qualifying series before we're off to Sebring. That's an early birthday present for me on the 18th of March. 29th of April, we'll see us at Road Atlanta. Spa will see us on the 13th of May. June for Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, or Mexico City. And then we get into the endurance calendar. It's taken a shift this year. We'll be running our Bathurst 1000 in the middle of winter. And the reasons for that? Well, who really wants to be outside in the middle of winter anyway? Phillip Island, Sandown and Bathurst will give us the Enduro Cup on the 26th of June, 17th of July and 15th and 16th of August. After that, we head into the back half of our championship. The Bend, Winton Motor Raceway, 2 tracks at this stage, still to be decided, and the Adelaide Street Circuit gave us our championship finale last year on its debut to the series. We waited a little bit longer to be rewarded with that, and rewarded we were. It will take that slot again on the calendar this year, a little bit earlier to be finishing the season on the 25th of November. Critical Option, the co-driver clash, going to be held on 14th of August. If you're one of those up-and-coming V8 supercar drivers and you're thinking about getting your way in and you're quick enough to be a co-driver for the field, you get your own personal shot at cracking a golden ticket for next year. And sometimes I feel a little bit like Willy Wonka talking about golden tickets, because boy, I'd love to open up a chocolate and find some of that inside it.
I know there's plenty of drivers who get excited when you talk about it too. That opportunity to grab a ticket is it's brilliant, and I think it's unique for our series. I love that we're doing it, and there's not just a couple of times that we do it. You know, like I said, there's plenty of chances through our qualifying series, and you know, there's a couple of randoms that get given out, and the enduro the co-driver clash, that has been a highlight since coming to our series. I really enjoy that into the lead up to Bathurst, and to know that there's a golden ticket up for grabs there too is just brilliant.
Yeah, and I think it's really, really important to the series, because this is, to me, this is the best iteration of the final series that we've got. There's elements of it I like and elements I don't like, and this rewards being quick. But also part of this series here in the qualifying series is you've got 4 races. You can't afford a bad one, so therefore the aggression gets turned down a little bit, but turned up back a little bit because of the opportunity to pick yourself up a golden ticket. 5 minutes left in practice at this point in time, and regular mainstay Kurt Stenberg will have some speed to find from 27th on the run sheet at this point in time. So a little bit of speed, but that is practice results. More to come that way. I've talked to a whole bunch of drivers about what they've been doing in terms of prep work leading into this one. Actually, I ran a whole bunch of NASCAR racing, would you believe, with Josh Wharton and a bunch of the Vermilion crew on Sunday. That's a good way to get yourself back in. They were all lighthearted and feeling confident, quietly confident about getting their way back in. And to be perfectly honest with you, they found their feet. I was actually looking back at our 20 drivers that made their way in. I was really, really impressed with Sorono. Horton was one of the other ones, paced towards the tail end of the season. Jacob O'Reilly was a long, long way up in terms of points as well, as was Wayne Burke, got an automatic qualification ticket. So for them, the big thing for 2025 is big growth as a team, and now have a look at where some of the lesser known drivers are starting to perform in the qualifying series.
Yeah, and that's good. And like you said, if you don't have the best qualifying series, what you can do is do yourself a favour, put your best foot forward and maybe shine the name in, get your name in lights for a little bit. And you never know, you might find yourself come the enduro time with a seat in this series anyway. So, yeah, it's I love going through this series and no, it's only 4 races, but it's good. It lifts the bar a little bit, puts a little bit of pressure on everyone. There's multiple ways, like you touched on, to get into it. So, and I love seeing some new names up and down the field. It's really good.
Yeah, good opportunity for, again, people to put that stamp of this is who I am, this is what I'm capable of, right throughout the qualifying series, and that's always the option. The other thing is, we talked a little bit to Emily Jones last year about getting that golden ticket. She wasn't 100% confident if she'd be able to earn her way in because she was going to be missing some of the races. That's the other thing is, even if you're going to miss a round, the golden ticket gives you that opportunity to still qualify for the main game. So at the moment, our 3 drivers that have been automatically promoted, Robbie Gibbs, Lachlan Capel and Ryan Bettes after that lovely drive in the wet at Imola. Qualifying coming our way here in 2 minutes and 45 seconds for the 20 minutes. And again, only a short little lap around here for the 38 drivers who are currently in the session at the moment. No fuel tank restrictions, and we're on track for 200 kilometres, just a lick over, with 2 compulsory pit stops to throw in the mix there, Sam Man. And, well, the Logitech G Hub, she's sitting behind the screens. What have you been doing? I see you've had some AI hard at work trying to make your figure stand out a little bit more. Has there been some design work done with those tools?
Well, no, just with that. That was actually my wife's doing. That's how it all came about. Because I didn't even know how she did it. And she goes, it's this chat GTP. So it goes to show you how much I'm involved with that. But it's a bit scary when your AI figure is probably a better looking human than what you are. So, yeah, I used that for a bit of promotional stuff today. That was just a bit of fun. And, yes, who knows? Who knows what I actually missed the G Hub. I was talking to Jay behind the scenes today, and he was like, do you need anything, any graphics? And I'm like, not till round 1. That's when we're going to be back in the G Hub. So looking forward to it. This year's going to be sensational. Always love a brand new start to a season, and it's a clean slate. A couple of new drivers, new faces that might be in the fold, and new contenders to see who can take it up to Jared and the team, because let's just put it right out there. He put on a clinic last year, and, well, let's hope for our sake that it's not much the same this year. I know he wants the exact same result, but it's going to be an absolute cracking season, and I can't wait to get it started.
Yeah, very interested to see what the statement from those sorts of boys is going to be like. The one thing to me is Blake Warboys took a year out of sim racing, and he's back in a big way, and he is on track to really start looking to try and qualify towards that series at the moment. Talking in terms of guys that are hanging around the top 10. So we talked about Stenny a little bit earlier on. At the moment, sits 5th in terms of the points. So he has a nice big buffer zone that he can sort of afford to fall his way down through the order as we're getting some of these picturesque shots around. But some of the drivers that are maybe sitting on the back end of that bubble, Wayne Walker, dead heat for 17th spot with Dylan Pereira. Pereira was just outside the bubble last year, and it was due to a couple drivers that were on the inside of the top 20 that qualify back in points not electing to take that seat. And Blake Warboys was actually one of those, said, I'm going to take a year off with the birth of his first child and spend some time with his partner. And that offered an opportunity for Tyson Broad, who finished, I think, 21st in terms of points, and then Dylan Pereira's 22nd. He also got his way in as well. Sean McNamara, not in the season this year, although didn't qualify in on points. So there's a few drivers that are stepping down and stepping back. Wayne Walker's one of the oldest in the field. Could he be the big qualifier in. And talking to Dan Hall before this one started off, apparently Wednesday nights are actually not the main show of the week. That's actually Thursday nights with V8 veterans. You'd have nothing to do with that, Sam, man?
Absolutely no idea what you're talking about. No, no, I do race with vets and absolutely love it. They're a great group. It's a great series, and we're seeing some good talent as Wayne's showing us. You know, he's currently P10 in this practice session leading into qualifying, and been impressed by Wayne's performance on track. And mate, if he's almost making the way in, I'd love to see him have a good night and make the field for 2026.
Now, golden ticket on the line. You can start your way up at the pointy end of the field, and you can kickstart your ability to make your way into the Pro Series. One driver will not have a nervous wait, a not nervous recounting of the points at the end of tonight's markings, and this is the lap that will start to count towards your final qualifying standings. 1:05 p.m. in sim time. Remember, in this half of the world, it is currently the back end of winter. Track temp is cool, 20 degrees Celsius at the moment, and it is a 7-kilometre-an-hour wind. It is not blustery, it is not blowing, but there is a little bit of wind from the southwest. Humidity is rather low as well. And have a look at the air temp. Only down at 19 degrees Celsius. I love these sorts of conditions, by the way. This is my sort of weather. Nice and dry and cool. Exactly where I want to be. Not up with that filthy Queensland humidity. You can keep that for yourself, Sam.
Gladly, mate. In Queensland, beautiful one day, perfect the next. You know the slogan goes. But the difference we're going to see with qualifying tonight, as we probably didn't see in the last 2 weeks, is that obviously it's dry conditions, so every driver there is sort of wiping their brow and breathing a sigh of relief. But it'll be one-hit wonders. So you go out, you'll punch out a lap, and you'll go straight back to the lane, put on a new set of Dunlops and go again. It's a different story when it's raining. You obviously want to build temperature in those tyres. So that's what we saw last week, is just that it was just circulate and get the track at the right time. So these guys now back to the one laps, and they'll try to put their best foot forward. And we talk about it all the time, Scotty, even though it's 20 minutes, you really want to make that banker, get that down and put that under your belt, and then it takes the pressure off for the rest of the session. But it doesn't always play out that way.
Drivers on and around the bubble, and it's probably one of those drivers we need to keep half an eye on. Angus Lawford, Dylan Pereira, Wayne Walker, and how about this? Rick Kuznetsov in 2024 was challenging for a title. In 2026, he's on the outside and looking in. He is on the below side of the bubble. A very strong chance to still qualify in. Qualifying series has been edgy. Changeable conditions have not necessarily made it the easiest for our drivers, but that's why we challenge them. You can't get into this series unless you've got the talent, and that requires the talent to master everything that this series throws at you. For Blake Fitz, would require just about a win and in golden ticket scenario for the 686 machine, as he will be the first driver to set a flying lap at the moment. Down in through the double left-handers at 6 and 7. Keep your eyes on the drivers that were just in behind him. Rain Campbell will be thinking what can happen here tonight. Qualifying is not just about putting a clean lap together. It's about being in the right place on track. Sam Blacklock will sit in behind him. And first laps from a racetrack that is the Red Bull Ring and drives much like a bull ring. Elbows out, wide GP circuit. The walls are a million miles away. What is the lap time going to be like? Blacklock looks quick through Sector 1 and Sector 2, at least compared to Blake Fitz. 3 cars to the line, 4, 5. Watch them as they funnel through. What's the first times going to be? And I can tell you that the early running has Josh Horton goes to the top of the timesheets from Freya, from Blacklock, Rizzo. There's nothing in these times as they start to come through. Ryan O'Sullivan was quick in the first couple of rounds, but it's that man who's under the pump. Rick Kuznetsov with an early blow, and that is important for his hopes. He needs big points tonight, and you start in quali.
Absolutely. It's always a great feeling when you get that banker in, and it's an actual cracker of a time too. So top of the timesheets for Rick Kuznetsov, and it was really interesting to see how that was all playing out. A little bit of wiggle there for Daniel, but a couple of drivers were opting for some clear air. A couple other drivers were opting to be, or happy to be behind other drivers. We've talked about the draft. It isn't massive, but if you can get a little sniff of a draft, it's always good to have in your back pocket, especially around here because of the long straightaways.
Let's talk about some of the drivers that haven't put a lap in round number 1, but at least the biggest benefit about this one, Sandman, short lap time, more opportunity to get a lap in. Ryan Jones, Kurt Stenberg, Hayden Veld, Will Sapstead, Daniel Polton. I thought I saw a tyre dip into the gravel as he come through the 7-8 flip-flop. And yeah, no valid lap time registered for Daniel Poulton. So there is only going to be a couple drivers who didn't set a lap time. Banker out of the way for a number of those drivers. Blake Fitz was the first driver in the field to actually set a lap time. Guess what? It's also the slowest of the laps from the qualifyings as well. So track position, not everything.
Yeah, and Blake, I noticed on the outlap that Blake was keen to get a bit of clear air. So again, just different feeling. You know, we don't know how his lap was. He might have just, you know, made a little bit of a whoopsie somewhere. But yeah, really interesting those first round of lap times.
Yeah, first runs in quali and last runs of qualifying for the qualifying series. Yeah, say qualifying that many times in a couple of minutes and you can start to feel like your head's a little bit spinning as well. Kurt Stenberg, this looks like it might be somewhat of a valid lap time. I don't think he necessarily pressed on lap. Sorry, my apologies for being informed. This is actually Stenny's out lap. This will be problematic. Have a look at the track map as he starts to wind on the power and comes out of the lovely turn 10. On the run up the hill into turn number 1. The big thing for the man as he gets up and on the wheel. And at the moment for Kurt Stenberg, he is going to hit a wall of traffic. Of that, you could be certain. Forget it, mate. Abort this lap. He's going to have to abort this lap early.
Well, if he can start, he'll be flashing the lights. There's no doubt about that. And so hopefully people will be moving out of the way. But still, regardless if people move out of the way, it's still so off-putting as the driver because you're just constantly looking for your mark. Oh, you got a little bit sideways on exit there. But he's managed to be clear so far. But the rest of the lap, he's just fighting for track. But track position's just going to be awful because he's constantly looking to see if people are going to get out of the way.
And that's the easiest part of the circuit now done to try and navigate through that track. Talk to any of the drivers up and down pit lane and they talk to you about not being off cycle during qualifying. It's just better off, even though you've aborted a lap, to stay in the train. And the reason for that is it means that everybody else around you is also on a hot lap. You're not catching traffic that's offline. Look at him trying to dive out of his way. Actually, not too bad. Everyone's done a pretty reasonable job. We've had some ugly, ugly laps. I think of Michael Taliercic back at Phillip Island, I think in 2024 in the Gen 2s. That was a nightmare on that occasion. He just about slammed into the field. Now, he's got a clear head of steam. Turn 9, tip it in, balance it in, pick up some curb on the right-hand side. Stay on the green stuff here. The painted lines, they're important. The painted curbs are valid for lap time. The wheelman will bring it to the line. And there was a handful of opposite lock. Was that a shake of the head? I thought I saw a shake of the head as he come out of the last corner. 31.4, better than what he was doing in terms of practice, but still on the outer and looking in. It's a good thing he comes to Spielberg with points in the bag.
Yeah, I think that little shake of the head, I was worried it was an off track, but he got away with it. So probably not the tidiest of laps for him, but he's got plenty of time, 12.5 minutes to go and rectify that. So Lisa's got the banker. So nevertheless, eyes forward for Stenny. And as we go and see, we're looking at Josh Horton here. So currently P5 at the moment, looking to improve. And I'm just trying to look at the timesheets too. No real big movers and shakers on this lap at this stage.
Yeah, so it's just setting yourself up. And again,
well,
the track temp has actually come up about a degree since the start of the session in 8 minutes or so. So realistically, we might have actually seen the best of the conditions. It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on that cloud cover. That'll be the big thing. The rain, not in the forecast here tonight, but I do think there is going to be some cloud cover on and off throughout the evening. So it'll be about, a lot of the drivers say luck. Well, everybody's got the same track conditions. Go out there and you've got to deliver at the right time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Be on the track at the right time and you can reap the rewards from it. So I always hold my breath through that part of the section. So easy to get an off track, you know, that double right-hander that you get to before where the pit entry is. It's so easy to put a wheel out a little bit wide and get an off-track penalty. Josh Horton goes to P2 now on that lap. Dylan Pereira.
And confidence. Dylan Pereira starting to find some time as well. Kuznetsov's, though, his time still good to go from the first running. Here comes Brian Borg as he will come through. Some more drivers starting to improve. Does Borg improve? No, yes, he does actually re-improve, but it wasn't by much. Warboy's got held up a fraction by that TTR car coming out of the last corner. Just taking a quick look. That wasn't Stenny, was it? No, it wasn't Stenny. It's Aaron Borg.
Oh, Aaron Borg, sorry. Yeah.
They're on board the TTR car. Aaron Borg, known for his exploits in Super Utes over the last couple of years. I actually chatted to him at the 1000 as well. Got a good opportunity to stand there and chat to him. He was trying to make a NASCAR jump over to the truck series in the States. There was a couple teams trying to reach out to him and trying to make that happen, looking for drivers driving similar machines in Australia.
Dear.
Replay for Ryan Jones as he comes to the last corner. That's impeding for sure.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, those drivers were just heading to pit lane, and unfortunately, he was on a hot lap and had nowhere to go. And that's the downfall of this racetrack, is that the entry into pit lane is actually on the racing line, so it's hard to check up. And we did a piece of this actually for the G Hub going back last year when we were at this racetrack, and showed the difficulty as far as trying to get into pit lane and where the racing line is. Unfortunately, he just got caught out.
That's where I was going next. You read my mind, Sandman. And well, is that a marker for when we get ourselves into the race? Because the qualifying series is tight in terms of the way that it's qualified, but it's in a different manner. The driving's very, very different, but it has to be. You cannot come into this series with the same approach you take to the main game. The main game, you've got 12 rounds to score points, but you need to be scoring in each and every one of those 12 rounds to be necessarily relevant. In this one, if you have a bad day, all of a sudden, the heart rate, the temperature goes up a lot earlier on because you've got 4 rounds. You cannot afford a bad round. Then again, this season, there's guys who have had shockers who are still inside the 16 at the moment in terms of points.
Yeah, well, that's right. But the pressure that it puts on you as a driver, knowing that you've only got 4 rounds. If you have a terrible round 1, oh yeah, okay, the pressure's raised a little bit for round 2, and then you have a shocker in round 2. It's like, oh crap, round 3, I really need to perform. You have an absolute terrible round 3. It's like, oh my God, this is the last chance. So that's the pressure you don't want to put on yourself.
Right, final laps in terms of qualifying. You know what? It's the Red Bull ring. We've still actually got Ryan Jones adding a fair bit of opposite lock. The man who picked the strategy correctly back in Fuji last year. 22nd on the timing charts. There's an opportunity for him to improve here. I think this might even be an in-lap for Ryan at the moment. At the moment sits 8th in terms of the points. It's actually Ryan O'Sullivan, Ryan Jones, 7th and 8th. So the two Ryans apparently 7th and 8th is the right spot for them. How about Ryan O'Sullivan and his journeys through the qualifying series? He was so close to winning a race and not having to do the rest of the series all the way back in round 1. Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be an in-lap there for Ryan Jones. Also been a member of commentary teams and lending his ear and his voice to sim racing exploits over the last long period. And here's the big thing about being on this series is you pick up the mantle here, and there's so many greats that have been here and gone and been here and gone and come and gone again. And Ryan O'Sullivan is actually one of those drivers. He's gone away for a little bit now. He's got some time and some freedom, but there's a sense of duty to our community because you've got to sell it correctly. You've got to be out here and you've got to be having fun with it. But there are some drivers out here that absolutely are worthy of being here, and you pick up that opportunity that you're presented with, and you've got to make sure that you deliver on giving these guys the coverage that they deserve.
Yeah, just as that, Ryan Sullivan's gone now P1.
Well, here's a marker of the man's talent.
There you go.
Rick Kuznetsov will slide down to P2. I can't believe that lap has hung on for Rick Kuznetsov as well. So that marker on lap number 1 was very, very important. How about Philippa Bokita as well? Our Assetto Corsa driver who's making the transition over into the supercar on iRacing. Corsa's made herself a trip over to Spain alongside of Jake Burton back in 2024 to compete in the FIA Motorsports Games. She's been actually working with the Trans-Tasman Racing crew, and that's come out of contacts. I think that would have been out of working with Burton on that trip, representing our country on international stage, and aborts a lap and gets the opportunity to dive across into pit lane. That is smarts.
Yeah, well, see, Philippa was going to dive in and then saw that there was a car behind and didn't want to impede. So just ran wide, took herself off the racing line, and then knew that there was clear track and just dived straight into the lane. So that was actually good, smart heads-up driving there from Philippa.
Right, Russell Pepperell, what's he going to be able to line up and put down late on the piece? I thought that might have been Tom Freer just in behind. I was correct in the 41 machine, and now the field starts to split apart. 6 minutes on the timing tower from qualifying in the Red Bull Ring. If you're going to step a lap together, it's got to be now, because you are only probably going to have 1, maybe 2 more opportunities. Newman into the pit lane. He started towards the rear end of the field the last couple of rounds, but has performed massively on a driver that has maybe not necessarily been the cleanest in years gone by. But he's certainly one with a boatload of talent. And You love yourself a controversial driver. That just adds another element to it. Rain Campbell will be looking for a strong result here tonight. Needs to at least be in the points. 16th is that bubble marker, the critical one. He'll be looking to try and improve late on in the session. Into the pit lane. Yeah, okay. Everyone's on that in-lap cycle right about now. And I can tell you what, the track map is starting to fill up. All of that nice, clean pack that we had early on in the session, it's gone. It is now a mess. And there is drivers on in-laps, drivers on out-laps, drivers on flying laps, all mixed into that.
Yeah, and that's always the worrying bit, isn't it? You want obviously your fresh tyres at the right time, but you want that little bit of clear track too, because the last thing you want is someone to impede you, and it's never going to be on purpose. You know, the driver in front might make a little mistake and run wide, lock a tyre, whatever the case may be, and just slow you up in a corner, and that'll throw you, you know. So, and especially when we're talking about the dying stages of this qualifying session, this could make or break your 2026, depending on how your qualifying session's going. If you don't pull a result here, that might make tonight almost impossible, and then makes you sit and you're basically joining us as a spectator for the rest of the season. I know there's a lot of drivers that don't want to do that. They'd much prefer to be behind the wheel.
Well, Marcelo Rivera is one of those that is absolutely on a win and in. 0-0 coming into round 3, and then the rain did not really work out for Marcelo Rivera. He scored 172 points last time out, but it's not going to be enough. This is Aaron Borg at the final corner. And around she goes, heavily into the wall.
Yeah, massive damage to that TTR Chevrolet. He was having all sorts of bother before it ended up turning around on him, so that lap was going to be custard anyway, but unfortunately that car is second hand, and I don't know if he'll have enough time to get back to the lane and repair that, but we'll see.
Marcelo Rivera's had speed, so I'm not just sitting here and counting him out. There is every opportunity you'll need, in my mind, though, to qualify a little bit further up the field than 10th. I'm expecting, without a safety car, our winner's probably going to come from the top 5. And we'll need a little bit of help to be coming from any further back. Minute 30-second lap time from these guys, and separation all the way down to 30th spot is 0.8 of a second across 90 seconds. How's that for a lack of field separation? That's probably one of the things we haven't really talked about across the qualifying series thus far, is actually the qualifying field has been separated by nothing. And this goes all the way back to the pre-qualifying sessions as a car wide down at turn 4 as well. But the drivers that were in and out swapped, I think, about 7 or 8 times on the final night of pre-qualifying as well.
It's crazy, isn't it? And that's going to show the level of talent that we've got that is trying just to make it into the series. So, yeah, we've already got a very strong batch of drivers that are already here, ready to take part for 2026. But everyone else that are trying to scrap in, they're just as good as well. And, you know, the times are showing that. So, yeah, nervous times for a lot of the drivers. And especially as we look at qualifying now in the last, probably just under 2.5 minutes to go.
Here we go. Last gasps at the session. 2 minutes left in the timer. If you're not rolling out of pit lane, you are not going to have enough time at this point in time. Here comes the field to have a crack at it. We ride at the moment with a driver who currently has pole position. Marcelo Rivera's gone wide at turn 1. I can tell you that with confidence. He will not improve on this session. That's a critical one. Damian Johnson to the line. Brody Sentence is a long, long way back. And Blake Fitz has not managed to improve from the very start of the session. There's a car off down at turn 3. It's Blake Warboys. He will not improve his qualifying position from where he currently stands. Fitz will not improve either at this point in time. Jack Wittes is in 12th at the moment. He has been absolutely beaten and banged from pillar to post right throughout the qualifying series. Contact with Ratu back at Imola. Ratu's not here tonight. That was his season done in terms of trying to qualify through. So for Jack Wittes, he will try and line up to start a final qualifying lap of the session. Minute and 15 seconds on the timer. That means you're starting your final flying lap, or you're finishing the one you're on. There will be no other. Hayden Veld had opportunities to win. The strategy didn't go his way. The conditions didn't go his way. He is still inside the points, and that's all he's got to do. Pereira last season got a little bit of luck and made his way into the main game. Rick Kuznetsov found some time to go back to the point. He'll pip Sully late on in the session. There's cloud cover coming over the circuit. I think our air temperature might be going down.
Yeah. I did notice it was noticeably darker on this side of the racetrack. So this might just help a couple of the people that are on a lap. And if they can piece something together, but look at the margins we're talking about. Kuznetsov, an 138.22 to a 138.25 over Rhino Sullivan. Incredible.
Yeah, Josh Horton's down into 4th spot. Blake Fitz is still coming around to try and have one more crack at it, because why not? There's 18 seconds left on the clock. He needs to get there fast. He dives to pit lane. His session is done. I can tell you, Marcelo Rivera will start another flying lap. The reason for it, he abandoned at turn 1. He hadn't put a mark on those tyres yet. There is still enough time. Witter slides down the board. He was 12th the last time through this section. Now he's back to 13th. Sapsted's in 12th as well. That's a drive of note. Leo Duncan was one of our major performers from Phillip Island back last year inside the co-driver's role. Witter's session is done. I'm interested to see if Duncan's on a lap and see if he's improving. Newman slid all the way to 22nd. Don't you know?
Watch Marcelo. Marcelo, it's got incredibly darker again. So it's got real overcast, and it looks like a lot of the racetrack is covered by cloud. So this might fall straight into Marcelo's hands. I don't know how much of a difference we're going to see. I'm trying to look at the track temperature, 21 degrees, air temp 19. And that's about what we had at the very start of this session.
Is he wide? Was that wide? That looked very wide going through the chicane. That means that lap will be done, and there's nothing that he can do about it. He's 11th on the timing. That is going to take a race of the gods to put that one together. Tice Hodges' session, I think everyone's done. I just don't think there's anyone on an active lap, which means Rick Kuznetsov sticks it on pole from the Red Bull Ring. Ryan O'Sullivan, Dylan Pereira are going to be your top 3. How about that for a final qualifying session from the qualifying series? And it's time to stitch it all together. And remember, I said back at the pointy end of things, Kuznetsov's on the outer. Could we see a golden ticket go outside the top 16, which means, we were all sitting here thinking it prior to the start of this session, 17th. That's the spot that will get the last on points. It might be 16th on the points. Here they come. Rick Kuznetsov in the 888 machine for 9.5 Sim Sports will be on pole position by 0.003 of a second over Ryan O'Sullivan. He's been hungry there and thereabouts. That win in the qualifying series might not come, but he should be very proud of the return to form and efforts on board car 74. Get back to row number 2, and it's going to be that of Dylan Pereira. Like I said, a little bit of luck to be on the grid last season. Can he stamp that out and get in all of his own accord this season? Josh Horton will line up alongside. Tom Freer, brake dramas in qualifying series last year, absolutely cruelly denied the driver of the 41 machine. He swapped from Vermilion back to Synergy, seems to be all back and working in form. Sam Blacklock will be to his outside. Blake Warboys is going to be on the inside of row number 4, and we'll see if he can qualify his way back in. Both of these two guys looking a little bit unlucky to the season thus far. Should Hayden Veld be already in the series? Well, debate that one at your own leisure. Leo Duncan is going to be inside of the top 10 as well. He'll be lining up alongside the veteran himself. Wayne Walker needs points on the board. Well, from 10th spot, run yourself a nice clean race there, Wayne Walker, and you will be in the main game. Marcelo Rivera needs a win and end. Points will not do it for the driver of the 21 machine. He starts out of 11th spot. William Sapstead has had a pretty clean and pretty clear qualifying series thus far. Not too bad from him. We'll see if he can wrap things up all nice and easily in the final time of asking. We'll step back to row number 7, where Rain Campbell will line up alongside of Jack Witters. There must have been one more lap that didn't improve, because Witters slides back down to 14th spot. Brian Borg and Kurt Stenberg, this is basically where the points start to go negative. If you're behind this marker, then you've got a lot of work to do. Brian Borg puts in one of his better performances of the qualifying series so far. Stenberg always says in the TTR Energy car, he's not a qualifier. Look for him to be on board in the race pace. Philippa Bokita needs some points on her side. Can the BS competition driver of international acclaim manage to find them? Tice Hodge in an 18th spot in qualifying series, 9,000ths in behind that one. And row 10 is going to be that of Ross Rizzo from Angus Lawford. Lawford's on the inside at the moment. There's an opportunity for him to qualify his way in. 20th spot might not be good enough for him. Jordan Mazzaroli, another Project 36 car in outside that top 20, and Brad Newman will have to get the elbows out. He's done that throughout the qualifying series to date, sits about 5th or 6th in terms of points. He just needs to make sure that he's there and in contention. 23rd and 24th spot on row number 12 is going to be that of Will Buchanan and Daniel Polton as we start to slide our way back down throughout the field. Russell Pepperell will be out of 25th spot and row number 13 alongside of the Sol Fishy entry into the field, and Jamie Dyke in the 080 car out of 13th spot. James Chastanoff always makes the joke if Simspeed Darling gets a lot of coverage. Well, Chasty, mate, you need to put a big effort in here tonight. Ryan Jones did not go his way in terms of qualifying out of 28th spot. Will Brown is going to be inside of the top 20 in the 888 looking car for the car number 96 for Phoenix Racing Team, and Brody Sentence will make up our 30. Outside the 30 and drivers with work to do to try and find their way in, Billy Mole is going to be alongside of Blake Fitz, who just could not stitch that qualifying lap together. Did improve late on in the session, but not enough to find much speed. Damien Johnson will line up alongside of Aaron Borg, final drivers to set themselves a time, and that is our field of 34 drivers, 17 rows of them, and critical to a driver who requires a win and in. Car 21, 10-second penalty. I think that's enough. That might be the final nail in the coffin.
If his night wasn't hard enough as it is, it's just been, these 4 races have just been, been somewhat difficult, and that's just puts a bit of salt in the wounds, doesn't it, unfortunately. But look, there's still time to bounce back. At the end of the day, a safety car can change everything.
We're going to chat to a couple of drivers who are on the bubble, and importantly, Rick Kuznetsov, we were just talking, you needed to score a bank of points here tonight. Well, mate, first job's done. Front row of the grid, shortest run down to turn 1. How's the confidence after that session?
It was mega. I had a pretty rough pre-race prior. Wasn't very strong and wet because I didn't really prepare for that. But pretty happy with this result. Rebel Ring's one of my favourite tracks, so I'm pretty confident here.
Well, mate, that nearly answers the next question I had prepared for you. I know you've had strong results here because I was looking into the research of it over the last couple of years. But look, Styrian Grand Prix, 47 laps around here. Does it nearly make you a little bit more nervous sometimes that you're actually on the front row at this point in time because, well, now all the pressure's on me, everyone's chasing me, or does this actually make you feel a little bit more calm, a little bit more relaxed?
For me, it's probably a good thing. I have some clean air in front of me. Just got to get a good start and just try to run away. It is a pretty hard track to run away from because the drive's pretty strong, but for me, starting front row is definitely better than starting P3 or below that.
Mate, in terms of things, Hills of Austria, this is just a beautiful track to actually go and do laps around. A lot of track limits down there. Are you already picturing what it looks like on the run down to turn number 3 and going, all right, well, if he's going to have a go at me, I'm going to give him the room. I'm going to give him, thoughts on that first lap and actually how to manage the traffic?
Yeah, we'll try ideally not to get into any accidents, but trying to hold the lead will be ideal. But if someone does try to send it, I'll try to be smart because I'm not really in the best position at the moment with the championship points, but yeah, we'll just play smart.
All right, mate. Well, congratulations on putting it on pole position for this one. Get the head down, get back out there. And ladies and gentlemen, Rick, I want to say while I've got you here, mate, you are always a lovely bloke to go and have a chat to. Really clean, well-spoken, and you deserve a lot of props, mate, over what you've done over the last couple of years, mate.
Cheers, Scott. Thank you so much.
We're going to be chatting to one of the other drivers, and it's only fair that the old man in the commentary box gets to view the old man on the grid. Sandman, with that barb, mate, Wayne Walker's alongside of you.
Wayne, we'll go and give him a clip after this. How does that sound? How about this old stuff, mate? Look, you're showing how it's done. I know you're a regular in the vets, but boy, oh boy, you're shining in this series at the moment. How's it been so far?
Yeah, up until now, I've made a few mistakes in the first 3 races. So yeah, tonight I'm just got a good grid position, and yeah, I've just got to try and stay there and try to stay out of trouble as well.
How's the nerves been coming into tonight? Obviously, you're outside of the bubble at the moment, not too far off though. So sitting currently tied with Dylan Pereira, tied for 17th. So is that playing on your mind a bit, or are you just going to sort of let the race play out? What are your thoughts as you sit on the grid lined up for tonight?
Yeah, a bit nervous coming into it, but yeah, like this my first time trying out for the Pro Series, so it's one of those things. Like if I make it, it's awesome, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. I'll be back next year to try again.
Well, as Scotty gave us a clip for us being the old guys in vets, I'm a vets boy, and I'm a proud vets guy. So you're also Jay Kennedy too. So behind the scenes, he's a vets driver as well. So you must take a bit of credit for that too, because obviously that there's some really good competition in vets, and that sort of helps you keep your eye in when you're taking on challenges like this.
Yeah. Probably the main one would be Jordan. you know, he's been, since he come into vets, he's been the benchmark, and it's pushed me harder to try and get to his pace, and I'm finally just about there. So yeah, he's been one of the big sort of reasons why I'm sort of getting quicker and decided to come into this.
Well, good luck tonight, mate. Whatever happens, you can hold your head up high, regardless of how it all plays out. But you've had a hell of a crack, and fingers crossed you make the bubble, mate, and we get to talk to you more throughout 2026.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you.
All right, buddy, go prepare.
I say all of that in jest, mate. I love you. I love the performance. Get out there, go hard, brother.
Wayne and I are going to give you a
Thank
clip
you.
after this. See you, Wayne.
See ya.
Good of an opportunity. I couldn't not. The bait was thrown down and I had to accept it. Right. 2 minutes and 20 seconds before we're going to have a crack at this one. This is a tough and tricky challenge. We've got an opportunity. I think we need to have one final look at everyone in the top 10 in points, because I was having a quick dive whilst you guys were chatting through the points. Daniel Poulton's actually a really, really interesting case to have a chat about to this point. At the moment, Daniel Poulton sits 10th place in the points for the series, and the critical thing is that he is currently 60 points ahead of Rick Kuznetsov, who is currently missing off of that points graphic. And the reason we say he's missing off that points graphic is because he's currently on pole position. This automatically counts for our winning in. When you see a points graphic here tonight, there will be one driver that's missing off it. That is the driver that's currently in first place. Our system's automatically designed to remove them. This would elevate Blacklock all the way up to the point standings. I want to keep an eye on where would Jake Burton be at the moment, and my eye in the sky just said he would be 10th and automatically qualified in. But that's what it would look like if it was to finish this way. Let's go deeper into the field and have a look a little bit further back at the bubble. Remembering Rick Kuznetsov is outside of the top 16, gets that automatic qualifying ticket, and that missing number there was actually Burton that we were talking about. Widders would be in. Where is Wayne Walker? 13th spot in terms of points, but have a look at it. 8 points, covers 4 drivers, back to 16th. Lawford, Bakita and Borg are a long way back right now, but anything can happen. And the critical number to that is Poulton. Poulton is 24th on the grid, Sandman.
Yeah, and that's going to be a sliding scale for the entire night. That points, we're going to be glued to that in the dying stages of this race, because it's going to fluctuate. So we're hearing that that's actually going to be a graphics that's going to stay with us throughout the night. So you at home can keep an eye on where your favourite driver is. Might be a family member, a friend, and a teammate, whoever the case may be, because that is obviously the crucial point. You want to be inside that top 16.
Before anyone gets their calculators out and murders us as well, that is unofficial points. Remember, there's penalties and everything that plays out. Yeah. This will not be confirmed. If there is a post-race penalty that impacts that, points may not necessarily be decided at the end of the night. We are not going to be the ones that give you the final points. We are just here with calculators, with spreadsheets that don't calculate for everything. The one thing we can calculate on is 5 lights are going to come on from the Red Bull Ring. 5 laps are going to go off. The final 200 kilometers of the qualifying series. This is the start you've all been waiting for. Can they get a get-go from the top end of things? Poulton has spun tyres at the back end of the field. That's critical. He's sinking. Poulton might be on his way out of this series before this lap is done, ladies and gents. Kuznetsov to the lead. Sticks it on. Sticks those tyres to the ground. Puts the power down. Action in turn 1. Couple cars around. Jastinov went around. James Jastinov is on the inside. At the end of this lap, he might be on a garage. He might be on a tow truck. His series might be done. It's all changing corner by corner, and we've only had 3 of them.
Well, that was interesting. The points changed. Chastanov was 15th, now 17th on the live timing, and that's just with that one spin. So thankfully, it doesn't look like there's too much damage. I think people might have got away with it, but man, oh man, that's heartbreak for them. They don't want that in the early stages. Into the braking zone, 3 wide there. They're going to try and squeeze through. Everyone else giving each other a nice bit of racing real estate for the moment, but they need to hold their breath. 47 laps round here. Just ease into it, guys.
Just ease into it. Ease into it. Points can be won. Points can be lost. I think it's more points can be lost at this point in time. We'll keep our eyes on the points graphic, but at this point in time, Rick Kuznetsov is keeping his eyes on trying to win this damn thing because that is the utmost importance to his qualifying series. If he's P1 at the end of the night, it does not matter where he finishes anywhere else. He will be straight through into the main game. That is what he's after. Lap 1 has gone his way. Sullivan doesn't need to be aggressive. He's got points up his sleeve. Pereira, Blacklock do not need to be aggressive. What about Blake Warboys? Where does he sit in terms of the points? Also doesn't need to be aggressive. So there's a bunch of guys there who are just trying to stitch a race together. Overtakes are not critical to their season. The only thing that is making sure that every panel stays in 198 Ks.
Yeah, that's it. And that's exactly what you want to do. For these, it's so easy to do is get yourself caught up in a silly situation. You just want to breathe, take it easy. You know what's on the line tonight. You can't afford mistakes. We're going to go to our OG Gear replay. And this is what happened to Chastanov at the start. You can see him on the outside groove. Now, what's going to happen? It's going to bottleneck into turn 1 because everyone's obviously trying to get in there under the brakes. We got sort of 3 wide there. Oh, made contact with the TTR car. Oh, and it's just a chain reaction there. So, it's ugly. It's typical turn 1 action. Yeah, the stewards will look at that only because there was cars pointing the wrong way, but hopefully he doesn't get any more penalties or anything from that.
Yeah, well, it's now get the head down and do what you can with it because that's the situation that's in front of you. The critical thing is all of the battling on lap 1 has actually presented enough opportunity for them to catch back up reasonably to the tail end of the field. This is Wayne Walker's lap 1 and his run down to the hairpin. Look at them all getting bottlenecked in there. Checked up in front, check up in the rear. Into the rear bar, and then he loses spots. So that's one of the rapid depth cars that's inside the top 10. That is enough for Wayne Walker to perhaps be on the outer. Look at how many cars went by him on lap 1.
Lost a chunk now. He's dropped now to 18th in the points now. So that's going to, obviously it's a sliding scale. We're going to talk about it nearly every lap. But that just goes to show you, man, he lost so many positions and he was trying to be as careful as he could be.
And Poulton's back in. And now it's a dead heat between himself and Chastanov. And remember, Rick Kuznetsov, if he doesn't win this, he comes back into this fight. Now it's going to be the Vermilion cars of Ray Campbell and Leo Duncan squabbling out of turn 3. They don't want to do this. They just want to get their head down and work together because that is critical here tonight. Duncan's going to accept that spot back up ahead. Now it's going to be Brian Borg who tries to slice his way back up. But Keita has got to get a move on. So Philippa Bakita is not going to be looking to play nicely with the 2 cars ahead. She needs to put points on the board.
We're talking about how many positions that Wayne Walker lost. He was 10th when he started this race. It's lap 3. He's 22nd currently on the racetrack. So he would be just, he'd be fuming. And now he's under pressure too. So this is what a driver doesn't need. You know, you've already had an absolute shocker. It really wasn't all your fault. It was just a racing accident that sort of got him all involved. Thankfully, his car's straight, but now he's just got to push on. Don't worry about the position he's at. It's only lap 3.
Chastanov 10-second time penalties just come through from the stewards, which that's the contact at turn 1 with Russell Pepperell that rotated him. And there's a car already bailing off and going into pit lane, trying to get out of the queue. The big thing I was looking at, I went and had a quick look around Wayne Walker's car. There is damage on the rear bar. It's not the front splitter. So he does still have the front splitter all attached. Ross Rizzo is going to dive out of the queue as the TTR car that will dive to pit lane. Marcelo Rivera, well, it's gotten worse for him. Actually, that's a 10-second time penalty for Rivera. He's just jumped into pit lane and said, I'm getting out of this queue. I'm going to do something about it and try and get my pace. Pit stop number 1 done, and 10-second time penalty served. This is for P3 on the road. Blacklock's got down the inside of Dylan Pereira at turn 3. He's now starting to try and push his way forward. But again, this is guys that have the points on the table. Mate, it doesn't matter what position they feed in, just so long as they just don't put the car sideways at any point.
That's it. And trying to keep your car as straight as you can. You need something to fight with in these dying laps. So I love that Marcelo's, you know, he knows he's got that penalty. He's got that over and done with. And now he's just all about racing. He's hoping that we may even see a safety car bunch the field back up again and just make his night just that little bit easier. But thankfully, he's got that over and done with, and we don't have to worry about that for the rest of the night.
Well, checking in with the new dad, and I believe that's Mr. and Mrs. Warboys. We also got married last year as well on the signage board in the background. put a lot of effort into go-karting last year. Sim didn't have a lot of time for that one. But now, a little bit of an older child, a little bit more room comes back into it for Blake Warboys, and all of a sudden there's enough time to put some work back in to practice and prepare. And he was a critical part of the Synergy Sim Racing co-driver roles last year during the Endurance Cup as well. Well, if he qualifies back in, they've all of a sudden got to go looking for another co-driver. And that makes the qualifying series that much more important. Think about from the boys over at Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports, as you see Blacklock up and into third spot. Blacklock's going to need a co-driver. He was James Scott's co-driver last year.
Yeah, and that's what I said, regardless, if you have an absolute shock and you don't make the field, what you want to do is put your best foot forward and maybe snag a good co-driver role, and then who knows what that's going to do for the following seasons. You might get yourself a full-time gig in a different team. Who knows?
Well, Chastanoff and Daniel Poulton are currently dead even on points, but remember there's a 10-second time penalty for Chastanoff to come. I believe that was Ryan Jones down the inside. One of the Vermilion cars, it was Tice Hodge he was defending from, as he did get that job done. Remember the boards on the windscreen update at the end of the lap. So Tice Hodge was 22nd at the start of the lap. That board will update at the end of the lap to say 23 on the digital display, pointing out towards the front. The next car just ahead of these guys, by the way, is actually Wayne Walker in 21st spot. So he's already started gaining some time back. One spot picked back off for him. A few pit strategies and thoughts going that way for those guys, including that of Marcelo Rivera. But Rivera's, his season's basically done. There's nothing he can do from here after that penalty. And I believe the stewards have been reviewing a few bits and pieces. We might have some updates to bring you on all of that here in a few moments. Sullivan's just shadowing Rick Kuznetsov. And for Rick, the critical factor is those drivers who are in and around the bubble are having terrible nights at the office. If he can't beat Ryan O'Sullivan, and Ryan O'Sullivan might at this point just be using him as a fuel-saving obstacle. He is 19th in points as Rick Kuznetsov. And that might be enough to still qualify his way in from P2. 190 points would be going his way. That is a lot of opportunities to try and earn his way in. Blake Fitz, 10-second time penalty for contact with car 012 of Billy Mole, lap 2 for that one. And the way that our producer's reacting in the background, Sandman, you might have something to talk about.
As we go to the OG Gear replay, and this is him. He's having the dive in. Oh, three into one. Billy is in the middle there. Oh, they're having a good old scrap here. How's this all going to play out? Oh, so easy to happen. Oh, just the slightest of touches there. And unfortunately got himself a penalty for that one. But unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast, isn't it? Whenever there's sort of nose-to-tail contact, there's usually a pretty good chance that the stewards are going to be pretty interested to have a chat with you. And unfortunately, he's got that penalty. So, nevertheless, early days, still lap 7 of 47.
Yeah, look at them using all the track. Extra track. That's the big thing about the Red Bull Ring, isn't it? You've got to use all of the real estate. That's the big thing about being a professional sim racer in general, is challenging the stewards on track limits violations. Well, stewards, iRacing stewards, automated systems, however you want to interact with those. But you've got to use all the real estate that's available to you. It's all about carrying speed out of turn 1 and up the hill. Ryan O'Sullivan's going to try and keep it a little bit closer to Rick Kuznetsov, although he might fuel save a little bit on the run into turn number 4, and I think he is just saving a fraction. He's just playing it smart, isn't he? He's just, I'm right here, I'm in contention, don't need to do very much. These guys back a little bit further, though. Jack Wittes has got Angus Lawford to his inside. Is there damage on the front end of the Wittes Mustang? I thought I saw.
Yeah, they were going at it, so I wouldn't be surprised if there is. Yeah, it does look like on that right front, it's got definite damage there.
Trouble.
So,
Jack Wittes is absolutely slow. See that front bar that's just poking through? That is massive aerodynamic damage. That is a sign of a car that is going to be in massive trouble, and there is nothing he can do about that.
Yeah, he's going to notice it. Sorry, go.
I think Wittes is actually racing from Bathurst this week because he's up at the mountain fulfilling engineering duties. I got messages asking me, does anybody know of a sim in Bathurst that Jack Wittes might be able to use for the night?
Ah, there you go. There you go. So, yeah, obviously we're leading up to one of the most exciting races at the mountain, the 12-hour coming up. And
we're going to get the story of how that damage arrived. And this is all the way back on lap number 1.
Now, this is normally ends up as a concertina effect where look how many people just trying to, he's hard on the brakes. Oh, so that was Wayne Walker that he got into the back of. And that's where Wayne lost all those 10 or 12 spots in that one turn. So again, nose to tail, everyone was trying to be as cautious as they could. And unfortunately, he's going to pay the price now because that, like you touched on, that aero damage is huge.
Wayne Walker's actually just lost the spot to Ryan Jones, who goes on through and takes 21st spot back away from him. Now Tice Hodge is starting to show the nose a little bit to the inside of the veteran. Walker's going to try and use all of the track limits on the plunge down the hill to turn 4. And Tice Hodge is going to try and wrestle this one away from him. The next turn, the left-hander at turn 5. Sorry, right-hander at turn 5, the left-hander at turn 6, and the left-hander at 7. Means that the inside is going to be favourable, but he's been squeezed all the way to the inside of the road. There might have been a tyre or two in the grass with some elbows from Tice Hodge. And if the wing mirrors weren't folded back when we visit Adelaide later on in the season, that might have been a couple of extra parts sitting on the track for the fans to pick up later on this evening as they just lent on each other. Love to see it.
That's what we love. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, a little bit of door handle to door handle, bumper to bumper stuff. That's what we want to see. Everyone got away with it. And as we go to the OG Gear replay, we're going to see this is Philippa trying to move up the inside. Again, just a little bit of door to door. And barge his way through. But everyone sort of lives to fight another day. That's the main thing.
So Bakita up to 12th place, needs to bank a few extra points. And I believe that's exactly what we were seeing from that one. Brian Borg starting to pull away a little bit in front at the moment, but the critical factor is when you look at Jack Wittes, he is going to have a very long night of just trying to manage the margin. The margin to P16 at the moment for him is in the range of 30 or so points. It's about 28 points from Daniel Poulton to Jack Wittes right now that he's on the inside. So he can have an average night. He doesn't need to have a great one. He's going to have to manage that Mustang to the finish line. Slides to 15. More points starting to eke away. And all he can do is on lap 9 of this thing, and remember, he's been handling it since lap 1, is just be patient and learn to fight what he can and what he can't fight for. 47 laps around this place is a long, long time to hang on to a damaged race car.
Yeah, well, and he does have to still make a couple of tours down pit lane, so they'll be able to fix a little bit of that while he's stationary, but you obviously you don't want to give away too much time, but it's always painful, isn't it, when you get that little bit of damage and you know that that's hurting you a little bit. And unfortunately, at this point of the time, there's not much you can do about it and just needs to, like you said, just hang on to it and see how it all plays out.
I just got past an image, and I hope I can get it across to our producer to try and get it up onto the screen, but it might be the first signing of the Orbit Drop Bear co-drivers for the year, and it's actually been passed to me by a partner of one of our drivers. So we go to every length to get our research in for these events, and our producer is working away madly in the background to make it happen. So we'll see what we can get. But in the meantime, Hayden Veld, we've seen this camera a few times, and again, apparently this is the new, he said it to me, was the new Eclipse Sim Racing t-shirts that he's working away at. And in the background lies one of those Easter eggs. If you know the history behind the driver, you'll know what that represents, but there's a lot of footage of drivers having fun. And there was a high school project for Hayden Veld where he had to look, you know those babies they give you in tech class, or was it life class in high school? You look after the baby for a few days. There's some clips of Hayden Veld from years and years and years gone past of what he did when he had one of those. And I believe we've seen an Easter egg in the background of the child's return to racing action, and a wave to the camera whilst he's going around the racetrack. He knows that he's being spectated and talked about at this point in time. Cool as a cucumber. Happy little wave to the camera. Here's another one of our drivers who's currently in and having a crack at things. And Sam Blacklock, well, Blake Warboys has managed to find his way back past car number 215, but that's okay. Still more than enough points on the board for the Orbit Drop Bear driver.
And as always, it's a massive shout out to our drivers that give us these live feeds, and it's great to see the real aspect of sim racing where you can actually see the drivers actually going at it. And like whenever we go on board with Stenny, we're just so surprised at some of the driving styles that these people have, and it works. It works for them. And it's really good. Brings another aspect of our broadcast to everyone at home. And yeah, big shout out to everyone who gives us those live feeds. It's brilliant.
And also some of the feeding in the background. By the way, this came from Blacklock's partner G. That is the puppy dog, colloquially known as the Wicked Wing. Luca is the poodle that he's got. That is absolutely the poodle sitting in the sim racing rig and getting his first driving coaching sessions from the master at work at the moment. We'll need to reach out to team representatives from Orbit Dropper to find out if they've signed that quick dog to a seat for 2026. At the moment, Angus Lawford ranging up on the back of Jack Wittes. And remember that Wittes car is damaged at this point in time. Needs to stay. I think he's going to stay out long.
Yeah. There's no real right answer at the moment, is there? Everyone's sort of rolling the dice. The likelihood of us seeing a safety car, they're probably getting slimmer and slimmer as this race goes on, but never rule out the fact that, you know, a slip of a down change, we could lose a motor, someone could be stranded in the wrong part of the racetrack. A red flag a safety car doesn't always mean that there's a big, massive accident. It could be that there's a car just parked and can't get out of harm's way. So you never know, yeah, just rolling the dice, have sort of game plan, because it looks like he's going to lose another spot up the inside, and unfortunately he's just a sitting duck in those straightaways.
Yeah, Angus Lawford's trying to slot in to the inside, and Lawford's in and around that cut line as well. So very critical that he puts points on the table. Came in as the driver in 16th spot. At the moment sits 14th. So the points not mission critical for Angus Lawford, but certainly any opportunity that he can get. Now, the problem is these guys are backing this pack up. This is important for both of them. How much does Jack Wittes want to fight? How much is he willing to risk? Because this is providing opportunity to everyone behind. It's taking life out of the tyres and the elbows. The barbs are being traded between Lawford and Wittes. There's going to be a little bit more contact. They lean on each other coming through the chicane. Wittes is on the outside, the non-preferred line. Right-hander the next corner. He is not willing to yield, but he's going to throw a counter-punch.
He tried. He thought about it. Unfortunately, he did. He's done it. He's put it up the inside. All he did was enough just to spook him, and he's got the position back. Good hard driving by these guys. That was brilliant stuff.
Yeah, and it's about the punch and then the counter punch. And now Lawford is vulnerable down the main straight. Newman is on a little bit of a drive back through the field, as he has been right throughout the qualifying series. Out and out lap pace has not been good from the Lobs Esports car, but the race pace has. Lawford hangs on. And I tell you what, I was saying, does Wittes need to fight? This has created opportunities. It's created a massive pack in behind. And now he's the beneficiary of it all. The walking wounded might find a way into the series, but how about the racing it's creating? Here comes the 281 machine. Buchanan's not done in this race yet. He's not done from this series. And now he's going to go toe-to-toe with Brad Newman. He's about to get himself a lesson in economics. It's the economics of punches traded. It's the economics of blows traded. It's the economics of how to score your way into the series.
Isn't it funny how just one position changes everything? Now we can see Philippa Paquita now, P17. So only 4 points out of 16th position. Unreal.
And it just continues to change. It just continues to change. Chastaneuf is now vulnerable. And the thing is, think about this. There's 10-second time penalty to come, but there's strategy to come. We've already starting to see a bunch of cars have already pit. Back to 26 have already pit. Rivera's already cleared his pit stop, as is Jamie Dyke. Ross Rizzo, Wayne Walker, Borg, Johnson, Pepperell, Sentence, Chastaneuf. Chastaneuf's in 34th spot, but he's given us a pit stop. And that is the critical factor.
Yeah, there's a few cars in the lane. If I was Chastaneuf with that penalty hanging over my head, I'd want to clear that as quick as I can, because if you get a late safety car, that's going to bunch the field up. And if you haven't served it, it's going to be crucial. It'll kill him. So he really needs to be at a point where he can get that over and done with.
And now, how much do you fight? For Rick Kuznetsov, a golden ticket means you're not nervous about points, but I don't think he's nervous about points. For Ryan O'Sullivan, he's not nervous. He's just full of confidence, but he does not want to throw this one away. as well, up at the pointy end of things. Warboys, is Blake Warboys starting to track them down? Last time by, I think Blake Warboys was the fastest car on track. No, it might have been Wayne Walker actually on fresher tyres down deeper in the field. But in the lead pack, Blake Warboys 32.211. He's coming a little bit back at these guys. There's an opportunity though that Ryan O'Sullivan might just be working on the fuel numbers. And if that's the case, the margin to the boys behind, it don't matter. He's thinking about that pit stop.
Yeah, and this is gonna fluctuate so much. Like you said, different strategies, pit stops, and every time there's just a positional change on the track, sometimes that affects it. So that's how close it is for some of these drivers to make this top 16 cutoff.
For Rick Kuznetsov, we talked about it already, 2024. An opportunity presented itself. He led the championship at one point. He knew coming into the Red Bull ring that it was probably going to be one of his best opportunities to pick off a race win, to put that stamp of authority on it. But it went deep in the season, and he was one of the challengers for a long period of time. To go back to the drawing board, to be on the back foot and things not go well in 2025. And the qualifying series, man, sometimes that makes your confidence just fall through the floor. He's on the outside of the points after being what I would consider a reasonably stable, reasonably consistent driver in the series. Well, you need one big round to change that, and it has to come at the last round for Rick Kuznetsov. We are a third of the way into this race, but just let that simmer. Put it on the burner. Think about it. Season it a little bit as we get towards the deeper portions of the race, because this isn't critical at the moment, but fuel and strategy might become... Yeah, I tell you what, Blake Warboys is getting bigger in that rearview mirror. He is actually coming back at these guys.
Yeah, he is. And it's probably getting to the point where these teams know that they're going to be having their pit stop soon. So just use up whatever rubber that you might have been saving or whatever fuel you might have been, had a little bit in tank. Use it up now because you're going to have your pit stop soon. And look, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd like to see maybe Ryan O'Sullivan pit before Rick Kuznetsov and maybe jump him in the lane. So there's still that strategy to play out because it's getting closer and closer. Oh, they managed to get away with it. There was no contact there. But man, oh man, still another dive up the inside, side by side, coming onto the front straight away.
And the big thing is that costs you so much speed coming out of the last corner side by side as well. That is not somewhere you really want to go side by side with. Matt Ciroli's elected to just roll out of it and drop in behind these guys. And now it starts to become spicy. The opening sectors, yeah, there was barbs traded, yeah, there was cars around, and we expect that when we go to the Red Bull ring, but how's the block now from Brian Borg? He is attempting to make this difficult for Sapstead. Sapstead's got a narrow line when they get down here to turn 3. He was a fraction of a second later on the brakes. He's going to claim the apex, and he's going to claim the overtake as well. Brian Borg now becomes the walking wounded.
Yeah, I love that these guys just aren't giving an inch. They're all as hungry as each other, and we say it week in, week out. It doesn't matter where you are in the grid. You always have a great battle, whether it's up front, in the middle, down the back. That's the quality and strength of drivers that we have in these fields, and it doesn't matter where you are. There's always brilliant racing.
And this is brewing. It's time. I think if you're in this group, you've got to pit. You've got to pit because you just can't afford. Wittes is going to get the elbows out. You've seen that how many times. Think about the guys that have already pit out of this battle pack as well, though. We've already seen Angus Lawford. He just elected the next time down past the pit lane when he saw how much these guys were fun. No, I'm out of here. I'm jumping to pit lane. Is that Wayne Walker? Wayne Walker is... That's how much time these guys have cost themselves fighting. Wayne Walker was a good 5 seconds or so in the rear view mirror. He is with Angus Lawford, and Lawford had a longer pit stop. And I can tell you, Will Sapstead has dived to pit lane this time past, and I think Jordan Mazzaroli's going to come on in with him. Look at the limits! The limits of pit lane entry!
Yeah.
And there's Wittes.
So much time to be gained in that pit lane entry, but I tell you what, if you make a mistake and touch that grass, you will understeer into the Armco, into the wall, and do yourself big damage. So it's catch-22.
This is nearly worse for this battle pack. The fact that Wittes elected to be the undercut driver on this group. And here's Warboys into the equation. So Newman is going to go toe-to-toe. He's going to go at it with, I think it was, where was it? Will Buchanan and Ryan Jones. Those three, oh my God. Ryan Jones and Brad Newman do not get on. That on the racetrack is going to be an interesting bit of racetrack to be around. I'd rather be in front of it. I don't want to be anywhere around that one. Where does Sapstead rejoin? Right around Jamie Dyke, but Dyke has been out of the pits for about 4 laps or so. He's gone for a short stop as Jamie Dyke, so this shakes that field. The undercut is certainly relevant to this motor race, don't you know? And the overcut Well, we've seen the drivers in the last year or so, particularly towards the tail end of the series, you wanted to go long. Winners is going to try and get down the inside, and I think that was Stenberg and the TTR Energy machine. Ryan O'Sullivan is still sitting in P2. Who's going to be the first to blink out of this? Someone's pitting this lap. No way they all go through.
Oh, no, they did.
You're kidding.
Yeah, look, even if I was Blake Warboys, just seeing that how quick that he caught Rick Kozestoff and Ryan O'Sullivan, if Blake had rolled the dice and just gone into the lane, he could have come out in front of him, but they've obviously all got a number that they want to race to, so that's what they're doing.
Check the points out. Wayne Walker is again riding in around that margin. Blake Warboys, well, that's not Blake Warboys, that's the other one. That's the car that's in the rearview mirror. That was Blacklock. So the long one there, that's Blake Warboys. The green matches the hood a little bit better for that one. Normally, I think he does great work. He gets one blue, he gets one mistake. But these boys, at this point in time, they do not have an opportunity. One mistake is the opportunity for all three of them to be in the bin.
We were talking about those points. Wayne Walker now 17th. As you can see, Philippa, those points behind with Philippa, so they're adjusting as well. She was made her pit stop, so still a lot of drivers still need to make pit stops here. So Philippa back in 17th position. Already had a trundle down pit lane, so looking good for Philippa at the moment. But man, so it's Marcelo Rivera who's the first of our pit stops. They've taken place. He also had that penalty hanging over his head too. Well, and we're
Marcelo
hearing that
Rivera has not yet served a penalty. I thought he would have done by now. I thought that was the whole point. But that's not going to. He's the leader of the drivers who have pit, and at this point in time, he's had a very, very short pit stop as well. He's about 4 seconds less on fuel than everybody else. Bakita has made a pit stop, don't forget as well. She's actually in a really, really good place, and she's jumped Sapstead. That's Sapstead in behind. So there is absolutely points to come their way. Here comes the cycle of pit stop. I like this from Warboys. He had pace on the two guys that were ahead of him. He crept up to them and went, I'm not fighting, boys. I'm going to jump in the lane. I'll get you here. Pereira's going to follow him in. He's in a strong point to qualify, and there is all of it to play for on the line. Think of it this way. This story is so easy to sell because at the end of this, 16 qualify, 17 qualify, and the rest of them don't. At the end of a championship, 20 of them qualify, or there's a championship decided. That is as nowhere near as spicy of a picture as what these guys go through. This is nearly more intense than what they're going to face at times.
Held hard in the brakes there in the back of Tom Frere. Just a little bit of nose to tail. That was friendly. That was fine. But, man, it's heart and mouth stuff, though. So everyone here, these drivers still yet to make their pit stop. Sapstead, fastest lap of the night, 31.419. And, you wouldn't imagine it'd be too much longer before Rick and Ryan O'Sullivan and the rest of it are all going to have their pit stop shortly.
Bakita must have had a really, really bad outlap, or last lap, sorry. She's been out there on those tyres for 4 laps. 6.5 tenths of a second for Will Sapstead faster. 6.5 tenths.
Yeah,
but
fair.
He's taken that life out of the tyre, remember? To set that fastest lap of the race. That could very, very easily go away from him as the stint goes on.
It's a big chunk. It's, something to think about. But still another round of pit stops still after this as well. So now here we go. I was just about to say it'd be interesting to see the lane, and we see Blacklock's in, Horton's in.
Freo, Hayden Veld's going to stay out. So overcuts for Kuznetsov, O'Sullivan, Veld. And
what's happened here?
Happened to Ryan O'Sullivan. So there's a mistake in the recent lap for him. So he's all of a sudden dropped off. That says to me that Warboys will absolutely undercut Ryan O'Sullivan.
And this is what I said the benefit was when they were all nose to tail. If you want to have that early pit stop, then you avoid little whoopsies like this, you know. So, this could be a different story. We go to the OG gear replay. This is coming in, so that's pit entry in the right, coming into the final corner. Oh, he's got a little bit wide. He's got sideways and just trying to get the power down. And he's lost that straight line speed.
Leah Duncan. He's in a really, really interesting spot at this point in time, just in the background of this shot. So Leah Duncan's just popped into the pit lane and popped back out the other side. Sapstead's going for the move down the inside of Makita. Gets the job done. Makita's on the marbles, looking for a little bit of traction and trying to cross back over and take the spot back. Leo Duncan is not looking good in terms of his points at this point in time in the series. I thought he was further down. Yeah, he's not scored many, 132 in total. He needs a winning in. He's not going to point his way in, but he can certainly be the deciding factor as he slides down the inside of Sapstead now. So this one is important. Duncan cannot find a way into the series. He steps on the outside of the racetrack and a massive wiggle through 5.
Oh, Bakita's in.
Back ahead. Bakita shoves the nose back to the inside. Onto the marbles now for Leo Duncan, the youngster for Vermilion. Stepped up, did a great job as a co-driver last year in what he was able to bring to the table. And is part of the reason they've got many drivers into the series without having to come through the biff and the bar to the qualifying series in 2026. But now he's getting questions asked. Now he's going to force his way through. And on lap number 1 on that set of tyres, he has taken some life out of them. Kuznetsov in, Sullivan in, Veld goes through. Warboys, race leader.
Yeah, and that's that fresh tyres. He's got there, he's made his pit stop, and now he's been able to jump the field. So Veld is still yet to stop, and Blake Warboys will be your new race leader.
But how about the pit stop margin? I thought for sure Sullivan would have had less fuel out of that pit stop. I think he lost a little bit of ground at the pit stop. He might be a little bit heavy-handed on the loud pedal and burning a fraction more than Kuznetsov. Well, there's just some accuracy issues for that one, so they'll have some work to do. Duncan back to the inside of Bakita. Bakita bleeding points at this point in time, but has managed to gain some points back. Wayne Walker is now 4 points on the outer. Chastanov becomes the driver on the bubble. And the best part is, that's 1 spot in points between Chastanov and Wayne Walker. And we've heard Chasty has served his penalty. There is no 10 seconds time penalty to come, but he is back here all on his own. Walker went for an early stop. He's going to be on the slide as a couple drivers get to his inside. Wayne Walker is going to be living the nightmare of turn 1, lap 1 for the next 12 months if he doesn't live through this series and into the main game.
Well, 4 points. There's still a long way to go, but man, oh man, it's close, and it's just going to be like that till the end of the night. But I'm glad that Chastanov got that penalty over and done with, because like I said, if it was a different set of circumstances in the middle of the field and we have a safety car and it bunches everyone up, then that makes your night go from bad to worse. But
that was a pit lane.
Yep. So it'll all filter through now.
And he's actually going to pop back out relevant with Ryan O'Sullivan as well. So that's how much time that Ryan O'Sullivan's actually lost. Sam Blacklock is going to go toe-to-toe with Marcelo Rivera. Rivera, and that pit strategy has played himself right back and into this one, you know?
Yeah, P3 now. So obviously he's got a tyre delta to pay a little bit. So this will hurt him a tiny bit. But at the end of the day, he's got himself some decent track position. And for him, it's only winning you're in. There's no way the points can help him because of how bad his first couple of rounds have been.
Well, I'm going to put something in your head, and Wayne Walker's starting to lose, though. That's the tyres and the undercut. He's now going to have to pay that penalty and start to slip further and further away from the cut line. The big thing I'm going to put in the back of your mind is, if you're in Marcelo Rivera's shoes, I'm not serving the penalty. I'm going to take it. I'm going to fight it to the steward's office to try and get my way in, because if he wins this race, the points and who gets in and who doesn't get in is going to wait for a review, because he'd absolutely appeal the penalty if you win the race. You would absolutely do that.
How often do you usually win over City Hall, though? So, yeah, look, I guess if you look at it a golden ticket opportunity, there's a lot on the line, so it might be worth the risk. But, yeah, interesting one. I'm staying away from that one.
I knew I'd never get a comment from you out of that one. But all I'm saying is, if you're going to play the system and you know, put yourself in contention, we said the only way forward is to win. He was never going to do it from 10th on the grid. He's done everything he possibly can. He's had to throw some Hail Marys on the strategy, but they've been thrown, and now he's back here in contention. There's a long, long way to go. At the conclusion of lap 23, we are half a lap away from the halfway marker. We are just about on the 100-kilometre marker of our 202, nearly 203-kilometre journey here tonight. Leo Duncan's going to go for a move at turn 3 as well. He's put Sapstead out into the marbles. We keep our eyes on this battle. This is just it, Sam, and there are so many stories tonight, because there are so many points of contention, and there's another one. And that is it. Marcelo Rivera is done. There is no coming back from that.
And he knows it too. His heart will be in his mouth. He knows that was his final chance, and it's nail in the coffin now. And unfortunately, you can't think of just how much luck that this guy's had. So much bad luck in this qualifying series, and unfortunately, that's the nail in the coffin.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say you say luck, but I think it's the problem is it's luck of his own creation. Wheel spins on starts, aggressive moves, and that sort of thing. That's stuff that's in the hands of the driver. Yeah, he's had some damage, but he can control. That's a long way back from Pereira.
Yeah.
Pereira might have a penalty to pay for, but he's high up in the top 10, so I don't think it'll matter relative to the standings.
Oh, it's an awful feeling too. You know that your night's just gone to custard. So now he's like, right, he wants to get to the lane. Oh, he's getting his ears boxed. He's trying to get to the lane. Actually, the stewards will look at that.
Penalty.
That's a penalty as well.
That'll be an entry penalty as well. So that is everything done.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he departs it probably, but yeah, unreal.
By the way, update on the live points at this point in time. By the way, Philip Kakita has gotten some elbows traded as they got into turn 3. It was at the behest of Jordan Mazzaroli, who's trying to find some points. So Bakita will slide one more spot. Burton, without being here tonight, sits in 12th or so, 12th or 13th at this point in time. I think on points he's in, and it's going to take a miracle to wipe him out. I just don't think it's possible. You would need everyone behind him to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th to wipe Jake Burton out of the points. It's just not mathematically. And that might be Widders. That might be his championship done. He is next the driver on the bubble.
I know. We've just seen how someone's night can go from bad to worse. Could this be the same story?
Oh, don't tell me it's Newman.
I think it might be. They're all going to go into this braking zone. Oh, look, did he move over on him? I don't know. Devil's advocate. Did Newman hold his line? I don't know. The stewards are definitely going to have a look at that one, but unfortunately, he's lost a chunk of position, and more stuff for the stewards to look at. Here we go.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought there was a move right. See there, he's crowding Newman. He's playing with it. He's absolutely playing with fire. Newman pulls away. Here. No, Newman cuts. I think they both moved. I honestly, with you, they've both made a movement in that braking zone.
This is why I love being a commentator. I don't have to worry about making these decisions.
You get paid for your opinion, and no one cares at the other end of it. Oh my word! I genuinely believe there's enough in that from both sides that I don't think you can say either driver is primarily at fault.
Yeah, that might come down to a racing incident, but we'll see. We'll leave it to the powers that be.
And the worst part is
Wayne Walker. We're looking at looks like Walker and Bakita. The way this plays out at the moment, they're tied for 16th. Oh my God, how much this is going to change. It's still like 25 and 47. And one thing I'm noticing is tyre deg, how much these tyres are falling off. We've seen it with Wayne Walker. We've seen it with Philippa Bakita. We've seen it with Marcelo Rivera. He was struggling with tyre grip. So that's probably surprised me a little bit.
You know what's interesting about the qualifying series? It's actually been quite a reasonable battle up at the pointy end of the field. And again, Blake Warboys is really showing what he's made of. So is Kuznetsov, so is Ryan O'Sullivan. But those two sort of made a few mistakes, and Warboys has run along really, really well. And I think that's been his big attribute in the qualifying series. But we're not even talking about it. We've actually had a genuine race for the lead, but everyone is watching 16th spot in the points tonight. And that's something telling about this series.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, that's all that counts. You either win and you're in, or you finish in the top 16. So, you know, I think the teams that are battling up front as we go to an OG Gear replay, this is a move up the inside. Nicely done. I was heart and mouth stuff. I was waiting for someone to have a look-see, but there we go.
Nice and clean. But again,
go.
Yeah, again, I think that comes down to both of these guys at this point in. So, all right, let's not force it. You got me. You're on the inside. I'm out and on the marbles. I'll just yield that one. There's 0 point to trade pay.
Yeah. And that's exactly what the front runners at the moment. If they're not worried about, you know, they're in comfortably with the points, they're just going to have a lazy old race. They don't want too much drama. So everyone around them is in that position where they don't have to stress too much. It's the teams and drivers that are at the outside looking in. They just need to worry about how their next sort of 20-odd laps are going to play out, because this is what will decide their 2026, basically.
really, really interesting as well is that points graphic. Again, I'll just give everyone watching along at home, everyone playing along, everyone that's chalking up bingo cards, who's checking their live bets on this one. The points and the race leader is taken out of the equation. We factor in the golden ticket so those at home don't have to. That is already equated for. Blake Warboys, you won't see him in the V8 Pro standings to qualify in. And the reason for that is right now, hand the man a golden ticket. He is on his way in, which means the number that you are playing along for, the number that you're all looking for to come up, the Powerball, if you will, is P16 on the points chart. 16th is in, 17th is out. If there's a dead heat, it comes back to finishing positions. I cannot tell you, I do not have it because I didn't think it had come up. I didn't double check the regulations before we jumped in tonight about if you're in or if you're done and what the finishing positions. I can always tell you it comes down to that.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to decide as we wait for this to play out. But still, look, you never know whether there could be a tie there at the end. There's still 20-odd laps to go. But, yes, I think it will be a count back probably. And, yeah, it'd be interesting to see who's had the better of the season.
I'm going to do some digging. I'm going to try and go and get some results, so at least we can talk about them over the last couple of weeks. So give me 5 minutes and a notepad, Sandman, and I will come back to you with some number.
And that's the two drivers that we're talking about. So in the points, it's Wayne Walker. He's on the bottom of your screen. He started P10 tonight, and he has had wretched luck. So still back in 22nd at this stage, or moves up to 21st now. And Philippa Bakita in P13 in the top part of your screen. So they're tied for points as it plays out, and you really need to be inside the top 16, and hence why we've gone to Co and crunch the numbers, because it may come down to a countback system as far as who's going to make the field for 2026. That's incredible.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the results from all the way back in Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And as I dive through the results, remember it not being a strong result for actually either of those guys. Wayne Walker was 23rd on that occasion, which means that he was ahead of Philippa Bakita in 30th spot. Now we're going to go digging to the next round of results as well. All the way back at the Hockenheim Ring and the wet and wild wonderland that all created. By the way, James Chastaneuf, best result on this season, 5th, which is also not irrelevant, but not relevant to the picture right now. Wayne Walker was 16th on that occasion. And I believe Bakita would have been behind as well, was indeed 26th. So then we come back last round to Imola in the qualifying series. And just pursing through the results, Will Sapstead on that occasion was 4th. Bakita, 10th last time out at Imola, which means that 18th spot for Walker. That would absolutely, so the 10th spot, one top 10 for Philippa Bakita at Imola. That could be the critical marker. And that basically says that for Wayne Walker, he's got to finish 9th or 10th. If he finishes 10th and they tie on points, he's got the next best result of 16th. He's been the more consistent of the drivers, but Bakita's been the better splash in the pan, big finish result. That's what it comes down to. And again, I'm thinking about it and sort of gesturing about it and expecting what I expect it to be. But yeah, by the way, update has come through from Race Control. They've reviewed the incident between Brad Newman and Jack Whittis, and I believe a 10-second time penalty has been handed the way of Newman, although netcode was noted in the incident, and that will be a big part of that one.
There we go. And he was gay, saying we were full of splinters. Jay's arguing the point, and I did say he moved. So anyway, we'll see. But nevertheless, I'm not auditioning for a position in
I
race
have a
control.
very, very important race update. Jack Whittis, DNF from the Red Bull Ring. Jack Whittis is not making Pro Series in 2026, and it comes down to the final event of the championship. And again, it comes down to fight the battles when they're relevant. That was not one that needed to be fought. And that is the price that he's paid. And that also means that the math and the equations that we were just talking about, Chastaneuf, Bakita, both in. Oh, it just changes on a dime. It changes on a dime.
Wow. Yep. Wow.
And Wayne Walker's been in for his final stop of the session as well. It will be an 18-lap run to the flag for Wayne Walker. Ryan Jones is also going to be one of the early takers on the final pit stop of the qualifying series for the DPR driver. Jones sits high up in the points, doesn't need a great result tonight as he comes in 8th spot on 416 points prior to tonight, sits 14th in the running order, but the critical factor is 40 points ahead of the buffer zone. It's going to be an out-and-out stash between Walker, Bokita and Chastanov. Chastanov at the moment has a bank and a slew of points, but the big thing is we will not know until the final pit stops of this session what it closely resembles. And then we've got to get to the end of 203 kilometres to decide the field for 2026. That is 17 laps left to go. We are on for about another half an hour of racing. If you need to grab a drink, if you need to grab a bucket of popcorn, mine has been empty since lap 10, I'll have you know.
And how unreal that it's going to come down to these final 17 laps to decide, well, a lot of people's future as far as what they're doing for 2026. Are they going to be armchair experts or are they going to be behind the wheel? Like, this is what it all comes down to. We've spoken about tyre deg. So for me, if you're one of these people in the position where, you know, it's either make or break, you want to get these tyres to go for as long as you can, because I can't believe the deg that the way that's fallen off to new tyres.
Did you just see that points graphic on the right-hand side of the screen jump? I saw it jump massively. And critically, I've just seen Daniel Poulton come in for a pit stop. And at the same time he came in for that pit stop, another message popped up and across my feed. I do not know if Daniel Poulton has served a 5-second time penalty he's just received for contact on lap 24 with Billy Mole. And I believe that might have been that 3 wide situation we were talking about a long, long time ago as well. He was in pit lane when that penalty was issued. I don't know that he had enough time to serve that one, which means Poulton's going to have 5 seconds post-race. That, at the moment, isn't relevant, but it could become relevant. You get a safety car, 5 seconds is going to be 5 or 6 spots.
Geez, I hope you're playing along at home and trying to keep up. I mean, we're doing our best as far as the points and with penalties and everything else. Holy dooly, imagine if we get, a late safety car and that field bunches up, that could be game over.
Sam, man, I think we're going to have a chat to our guys at Logitech and see if they do a calculator, because mine is smoking and it is done and it is checked out for the evening, and it might be the final time I have a calculator sitting on my desk. Well, I'm not going to punch it through my phone because I need that, so I'm not willing to risk it at this point in time. The one thing that we know right now is that Jack Witters is 16 points behind the 8 ball. I don't think it's done. I'm going to be honest with you, but you've got to remember that the points are bad for Bokita right now, and she's sliding backwards, not forwards, because she came for the undercut on that first stop. This second stop isn't going to be as bad for the female driver. And remember, she's got a race with her head. She's going to have a team sitting around behind her. She's going to have the assistance of a large, experienced organisation and outfit. She's partnered with the Trans-Tasman Racing Group. I can see Aaron Borg, Jake Maloney sitting there doing the points for that group, by the way. He's the only non-driver in the Discord chat helping that group out tonight. How do you think he feels as an engineer for this mod?
Yeah, it's always pressure, isn't it? It's interesting, and the way the points are at the moment. So much is playing out. So we see a car that's still in Pereira. He's in the lane. So with 15 laps to go, Rick Kuznetsov, he's in the lane as well.
Kuznetsov, look at the points change for him. Admittedly, he's going to pop back out. That's Tom Freer. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Freer. It was just in behind him. It was Josh Horton. Horton had to back up on the pit lane entry. Did you see that as he pulled into his stall? There was a miss of the stall and a slight reverse. It's going to cost him a second and a half. Don't think it'll be relevant for Josh Horton, who coming in tonight in a really, really strong point in points, was 12th on his way into tonight. He will be reasonable. He will be consistent towards the pointy end of this thing. Kuznetsov has decided that he's going to throw it all at the wall. Who's sitting around to assist him? in the 9-5 garage here tonight. I know they're up at the pointy end of our Discord chats as well. Kuznetsov's got Sean McNamara, a team boss, and a very, very level-headed man. He talks big of Rick Kuznetsov and his approach to things and his cool, calm demeanour. And that's a good combination to be working together at this point in time. If there's anyone you want in your back pocket, it's a cool voice right now. You don't need anyone firing you up.
Absolutely. And now that he's got that pit stop over and done with, he's got a little bit of clear air. He's got past some traffic. So now he can just breathe a little bit and just let that race come to him. He knows that he's probably going to qualify his way in, providing that nothing unforeseen happens. As we go back to the lane, and that's a dive straight in the lane here. So that's Warboys, Ryan O'Sullivan, Hayden Veld, all in the lane now. As we go to Philippa Bakita back in 20th position.
This is a post-pit stop, I think, for Bakita at this point in time. So the final stop of the night, and it's the critical one. What does it look like post? There's a short run to the flag now. And the outlap is good for the BS competition driver. Needs to continue putting points. Again, Wittes isn't in. Wittes is still not in, but look at the margin to Wayne Walker. And again, Jack Wittes, think about this. Yes, the car was bent. Yes, the car wasn't straight. But could you imagine if he just logged laps? If he just logged laps, he's ahead of Wayne Walker here.
Yeah, now, does that calculate, has he done enough laps to qualify for...
That might be calculating, actually, you might be right. It might be calculating at the moment. He might have a 0.
Because, he needs to make a certain race distance to actually qualify for points. So that might be something else that we might have to throw into the equation as well.
That's a very, very good point. 75% is the race distance that's required. So it'll be 150 Ks or so around this place. It's required. And that is the points adjusted after we account for no point from the final round. He is not in the top 20. He is not relevant. Sam Blacklock is going to make his final pit stop of the qualifying series, and at this point looks set to cap the season off first of the drivers not qualifying with a golden ticket in the end. That speaks to consistency and points at the moment. So he's driving well. Ross Rizzo came back. He tried. I don't think it's going to be enough for Mr. Fuel Save. You can tell that he's always paid his dues. I'd love to be paying the fuel bill on Ross Rizzo's cars over the year. Not be as big. How about, though, the tightness of the pit lane exit? Because Blacklock has jumped. All of a sudden, Rick Kuznetsov, Warboys will come out with the lead. Hayden Veld is in this picture still for a race win. All of these guys will want one.
Look, they do want one, but they're not going to throw away an opportunity where if they're making it on points, I'm sure they'll have calmer heads prevail and get in their ear and say, look, you know, if you're going to start fighting, there's probably no need. We only need to circulate for 13 more laps and we qualify for 2026. You get yourself in a bit of a pickle, have a contact and maybe, you know, get some either damage and get a penalty at the same time. That could turn your 2026 upside down. So if these drivers are at a point where they're in, I don't see that they're going to get too many ruffled feathers out of this lot.
Well, Warboys will be feeling nice and comfortable as he sets about driving his way back into the series in 2026. Billy Moles received a 5-second time penalty. That's not relevant to the championship at large. Bokita waiting for more points to be put up and on the table, and Bokita is still on the outside. Chastanov's in. Wayne Walker's not going to do this, you know. He's sitting there in 17th at the moment. It's not going to matter. Leo Duncan currently still yet to pit, and that is why I was sitting there looking at those points and going, that doesn't match. Leo Duncan is currently picking ourselves up the golden ticket, the last one to come. That will be handed to Blake Warboys when we see the final pit stop for the Millennium driver, but he's waiting a long time as Duncan. And the thing for Leo Duncan is the only way he's getting in is to win it in. And we're back to the same question mark that we had before. Wayne Walker or Philippa Bokita? At the moment, they're on the bubble, and it's going to Bokita with a 10th place at Imola. We could end up with a dead heat on points, and it changed again whilst we're looking at it.
And look, Leo Duncan still has to make his pit stop as well. So It's going to change again, and we can see it's gone a little bit more overcast on racetrack too, so that's going to help these teams and drivers as far as their tyres. So 19 degrees track temp. So this is about what we had in the early stages of qualifying. It hasn't fluctuated too much, as you can see by that graph. So that's what you like as a driver. And Leo Duncan still goes for another lap.
I think an interesting one, actually, just keeping an eye on Wayne Walker. I think he might have picked off Brian Borg on that lap, who's got a damaged race car. And the other thing is, he's right behind Brody Sentence, who has another damaged race car. Hayden Veld is starting to look racy as well. Gee, he would have loved to have had a couple of weeks off with a win back at Hockenheimring in Germany. Walker's a chance of picking off some more spots, and I just don't think Bakita's going to score enough points. Came in on the same lap as Jamie Dyke, who sits ahead of Philippa Bakita on track. And the thing is, there's a little pack just ahead of them of Mazzaroli Buchanan are both in that one, and Angus Lawford leads it, and they've been trading blows the whole way through. This is Wayne Walker, and he looks at Brody Sentence ahead of him, and look at how offset the rear end of Brody Sentence's 9.5 Sim Sports Camaro looks.
You know, much Wayne Walker loves seeing that too. Just knowing that he's got an absolute sniff here to get another position. A couple of more points in the piggy bank for him. He just needs to be smart. He's going.
He owes us a pit stop still. Brody Sentence hasn't made his final pit stop, I don't think.
Oh.
So he's actually irrelevant to this, but what he is doing is backing up into Brian Borg. Borg is on his first flying lap on these tyres. He's had the out lap. This is the first flyer, and now he's on the back end of Wayne Walker. So Walker's going to pick up one spot, but he's almost certainly going to lose this. He's on 8 laps on these tyres. There's 7 laps of differential, and look at the traffic, the traction difference as they try and apply the power. This is critical to Walker. So here comes Borg. Does he tag him? There's enough room left. Brian Borg is just about wrapping on the rear bumper of Wayne Walker and his final opportunity into the series. This is critical, mission critical for Wayne Walker. Where does Sentence go? Is Sentence about to pit in? Here comes Brian Borg. Think about this one, boys. Have a thought. Think about what it means. Sentence goes right in front of them.
Oh, you knew that was going to happen, didn't you? Just to be as spicy as you like. And now Wayne Walker's like, oh, goodness, he's managed to get that spot, but now he's just a sitting duck, unfortunately. There's been some drama. Was that Kuznetsov?
Kuznetsov, and Ryan O'Sullivan's gone through on the pair of them.
Oh, I tell you what, these guys don't need to be mucking around, because at the end of the day, going by the points, here we go to the OG Gear replay, they can't afford to do anything silly with 10 laps to go. Oh, a nose to tail there. And just couldn't pull it up. Okay.
He's given it back. I think what we thought was the redress.
Yeah.
I reckon there'll be a 5-second points penalty still addressed, because there was a spot changed hands, and that's generally how they handle it here as well. But that won't impact Vel. I don't think it'll matter for any of these guys in this queue. The only thing it'll do, Rick Kuznetsov doesn't want to get involved because he does still need points, and those couple of spots bring him down, but it's less mission critical now.
Yeah, so Kuznetsov, as it stands, P13 at the moment. So
when it comes to golf, because remember Leo Duncan, we're still going to take Leo Duncan, shuffle everyone up one spot.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Goodness, 9 laps to go. Round 4, the final round of the qualifying series for the Logitech G Pro Invitational for 2026. It's been an absolute cracker of a series. Who would have thought a 4-round championship would be this exciting? We've seen so many different things play out over these last couple of weeks, and I tell you what, it's building so much excitement for the year ahead.
The thought that just went through my head was, gee, yeah, this has been great. Let's have more of these. Let's nearly have let's have a final series. Maybe that one goes back on the drawing board.
Yeah,
could you imagine if we had 3 championships in a year instead of just the one? It'd be a little bit more exciting, because there's, reset and go again for Championship B. Bakita gets
Bakita!
They lean on each other. Dyke will eventually relinquish that one, but has that put a mark on the tyres? That might be important. They're back on level pegging, and Wayne Walker just lost 2/10 on the most recent lap to Will Brown. Will Brown has got 3 lap better tyres and a straight-looking race car. Will Brown is a threat of getting to the rear end of Wayne Walker on the last lap of the race. Could Will Brown be the deciding factor in this championship? What does Bakita's offerings look like to us? Ross Rizzo is crawling his way back into contention in this one. He could have something to say in this championship.
Tell you what, Bakita was lucky that, that car wasn't nose head on into the guardrail there. That could have been really ugly. So thankfully they got away with it there. Bakita lives to fight another day. We're still waiting for Leo Duncan to pit. And with 8 laps to go, it's still undecided.
Oh, here we go. 8 laps from the Red Bull Ring, 32 kilometres. We are into the final stages of the journey to the qualifying series for 2026. 45 drivers, 12 rounds, and Wednesday nights from March through to the end of November. That's not the only thing to bring your way. If you thought this stuff was interesting, I don't know how much of the Dirt Series you watched last year, Sam, man, but I got to call just about all of it, and it makes this stuff sometimes look like child's play. We've got Oceanic Dirt Sim events have become a part of the Australian Sim Racing Group for 2026, so we've got ourselves the National Championship for Dirt Sprint Cars. Tag into that brand new Porsche 992.2 Cup car, complete with all the added bells and whistles of traction control and the ABS as well to go on board of that one. It is going to be the best sim racing in Australia on your Wednesday nights right throughout the year. And don't forget, we've got an Enduro Cup to run in there. Who is going to win the Bathurst 1000 in 2026 in its new time slot, bang in the middle of winter? That's what you've got to look out for. But the thing is, none of that matters until you cross the line in 7 laps time. 28 kilometres. They are 28 of the highest pressure cooker moments. And I can tell you, Brown is taking time out of Wayne Walker. That could be the deciding moment. Chastanov's got points on the table at this point to the tune of 40 of them up his sleeve. He will be feeling safe, happy and comfortable. He's on the in. Who is getting eliminated from this one? Who will we not see again? And Wayne Walker will be thinking about that slide out of the final corners and going, these tyres have got to get me home. That is doing damage to them. I've got to be kind to these boys.
Yeah, and you can see Brian Borg in front of him. I don't think he's much chance of getting that job done. Oh, drama back here in the pack.
And that's Will Sapstead. Does that have another point to sort of talk about in the tying ages of this one? Is that going to hand a penalty to anyone who's in contention here? I don't think it'll matter. I do not. Based on the trajectories and what we're looking at, it won't matter. There's the Haydenfeld 5-second penalty. That's exactly where we thought we were going with that one, and I don't. That's consistent. I'm happy with that one. Mate, I'm so glad we're in the commentary box. I would be biting my fingernails right now, and I wouldn't be sure what to tell my driver.
Yeah, look, we go to the OG Gear replay, and this is what we're going to see. Just into the braking zone, and bang. Decent old cop from behind. So again, the stewards are going to definitely have something to say about that. Oh, it's on here. Is this payback?
Little bit of roughing up. Now it's going to be running wide at the second last corner. Oh. That's that is going to be on the radar, and that is really, really important. Ryan Campbell has run it clean to this point. And he is on the, look at the points graphic. Campbell's there in 14th spot. He cannot afford, if he gets a DQ, Walker and Bakita are both in. That is on the radar. There could be something to pay for that one. You do not have the capacity to be throwing that away. What's happening to Kuznetsov? He just slid down the graphics and points as well, so he's in a little bit of the world of hurt. It all changes again. Leo Duncan below just a picked up.
Yeah, so our producer was just telling me in the back exactly what I was just trying to process as you were talking there. It was Ryan Campbell that actually made contact with Sapstead, so he's given that position back. But what we've seen consistently from race control is what you touched on before, is that even though they swap positions back, sometimes there's still a 5-second penalty added. So could that be danger there for Ryan Campbell?
Well, where's Sapstead in the points graphics? I don't think he's relevant to the final championship contention.
But will it be Rain that might get the... Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, Sapstead's not relevant. Here comes Leo Duncan. So this is going to start clearing up some of the points graphics. This will eject Duncan from that golden ticket seat. and he will go sliding down through the standings and appear at the bottom end of it all now. And now we can start to make some sense of it. There is a dead heat yet again from Wayne Walker. And the critical factor to this one is that Will Brown has arrived on the scene. He is in the draft. And we have only got 5 laps left to go. There is still time. Wayne Walker is willing the finish line closer. He just wants it to get there. He is scrapping. He has dealt with this since lap 1. He didn't get the best getaway, and he had to try and rest it back underneath him. He's done that to this point, but there is still a vet race car. Where is Bakita? Where does Bakita come out in all of this one? Leo Duncan popped back in ahead of Philippa Bakita. Rain Campbell might be important. If Rain Campbell gets a 5-second penalty, Bakita's in. But if it's a dead heat on points, Bakita's in anyway. She's got that 10 points. No further action for the stewards. Sorry, my apologies. No further action. I thought it was the Rain Campbell incident. It's not. It was Philippa Bakita and Jamie Dyke from a couple laps ago. That one was from a while ago.
No, it's a Rain Campbell one. That's the one that's going to be hanging over our head as far as what might play out here. That could take Rain Campbell out of it, but we can wait and see. That's up to race control. So Philippa's just in a bit of racing there that, you know, she might be able to make up a couple of positions there, but man, oh man, we're talking 5 laps to go and we still don't know who's going to qualify for the top 16.
Leo Duncan's on fresh tyres at this point in time as well. He's just made a pit stop. Surely he didn't leave him on. I wouldn't have left. No, he's...
Bakita!
This is the only Philippa Bakita is trying to earn her way into the series. Stuff the points, stuff the penalties. Let's get the overtake on. That's an elbow though. That was an elbow, and it's run him wide. Bakita's now at risk of picking up a time penalty. Run as fast as you can. You can't catch her. She's on her way to the Pro Series, or is she?
Oh, no. And, you know, everyone's going to be looking at that because if that doesn't incur a penalty, especially the team that it's around Wayne Walker, they'll be fighting that tooth and nail as far as if there was sort of contact there to barge Bakita through. So, oh my goodness, 4 laps to go, and we're not concentrating on the leader. We know it's Blake Wallboy, Sam Blacklock in second, Ryan O'Sullivan third. Yeah, they're having a great run. That's not what's important. It's about making the top 16. And boy, oh boy, it's going to go right down to the wire.
This is an opportunity. This is a moment for the female driver in 2024. Trip to Spain. She earned that one. She earned it from an event down in Victoria. It played its way out at Fortress in Melbourne. I was down there on that occasion. I got to meet her. I got to chat to her, talk about racing, talk about all things, talk about everything she's done. She's a GT3 driver over on Assetto Corsa. That's what she makes the big bucks earning. She is right at the top of the game in terms of the Assetto Corsa community, and she put us on the map back in 2024. But this is a different ball game. The mistake happened back at the number 1 round of this qualifying series. Little intricacies, little differences between the sims. She didn't know where her pit stall was. When you enter a server in Assetto Corsa, it's in the same place until you exit that server. In iRacing, where you qualify sets where it is. She had to back up down the pit lane. Here's the replay. Where's it going to go? Keep your eyes on was there room left and who's swung wide. There's a pinch for brake. Do you see the front left tyre?
This is why I'm a commentator. I'm staying out of it.
Make a decision, mate. I need your input on this one, Sam, man. Have an opinion. The rest of the sim-osphere in Australia has one, because that's why we're damn well here.
Oh, that is a scary one.
Update. We've got an update that's come from race control. Will Sapstead has just picked himself up a 5-second time penalty.
Who's in
and
front
I just heard
of Bakita?
Kurt Stenberg on the radio about something as well.
Oh, wow. So where does this bring Sapstead back? Oh, no. Just trying to see 28 seconds, maybe about 18th, possibly. My goodness.
At the moment, there's a little bit of discussion about Leo Duncan and where he's involved in all of this one as well. So there is a lot of stuff And with 2 laps left on the timing tower, the stewards have got probably one of the most critical decisions to make of the season. This is under high pressure stuff, but they've got to perform much the same way the drivers do. What we can tell you is if the points remain level, Bakita is in. 10th place at Imola. For Blake Warboys, he is on track to a golden ticket. Does he have enough fuel in the car? Has he heard a weird sound that he hasn't heard the whole time? How's the comfort levels? Well, mate, I can tell you the poker face hasn't changed all night, so I don't think he's even thought about that. He's probably thinking about how cool the shower's going to be after the race. He's already thinking about everything that's gone before this race, everything that's to come in 2026. And with 1.5 laps to go, he'll get there on points, regardless of if he finished and stole the golden ticket. But a golden ticket, boy, it just sounds so much better.
It does. So much on the line. I don't know that we're going to really know the true result after all this. There's so much to play out. Race control is going to be very busy. The stewards behind the scenes as far as assessing everything else that's happening throughout this race. But man, oh man, as we get to the 1 lap to go, Blake Warboys, he's done a brilliant job. Barney's out there waving the white flag. It's been a brilliant race at the Red Bull Ring. All he needs to do is hold on for 1 more lap.
For 17 drivers that are left in this championship, in fact, 16 of them are out there on the racetrack at this point in time because Jake Burton's not out there and he will join them. This will be their final lap of their own championship for 2026. Will it be their final lap? From a co-driver standpoint, they've had to earn their way in here tonight. There is so much stuff investigated. Remember, 5-second time penalty, car 81, William Sapstead. Will Brown has driven to the rear bumper of Wayne Walker. He could go for a dive bomb on the last lap. He's not relevant to the championship, but he could still make himself there. Look at the battle pack as they squeeze their way off of turn 1. On the run up to turn 3, and Bakita's thinking about sticking the nose in. Here it comes. She's going to have a go on the last lap of the race. Is she in? Is she out? We can't tell you because we won't know. Blake Warboys will. He is on his run through the middle sector for the final time, and on his return to the series in 2026, he'll pick up a victory in the qualifying series. For Sam Blacklock, he's going to get there as the leader on points. For now, all that we can do is look to the timing tower, look to the steward's office, look to the race report for 2 final corners. Here comes the end of the qualifying series. Blake Warboys, welcome back, my friend. You're in for the WK&P Sim Sports entry. He will take the golden ticket for the team inside the top 10. We don't even look at their points because Kuznetsov's in, courtesy of a big finish and a big pole position. But where do the rest of them shake out? Where are the cuts going to be thrown amongst the pigeons? Where is the penalty coming? Is there one to pay for Philippa Bakita? She sits dead heat in 16th spot on the track. She'll get it if that's where they finish. Is there going to be one final last gasp? They'll cross the line. Bakita's put the points together. This is it. This is the battle I was talking about. For Wayne Walker, he'll sit there. Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't. It's a dead heat on our points. Everything is unofficial, and at the moment, Philippa Bakita is on her trip to the Pro Series.
Yeah, still a little bit to play out. We know that Rain Campbell's still got penalty hanging over him, so a 5-second penalty. The points will adjust that way, but then, there's still, I guess, the thought that maybe Philippa could get a penalty for her contact. I don't know. The stewards are with that at the moment, so we haven't heard anything about that yet. So for the moment, it's still heart and mouth, but take nothing away from Blake. He did an amazing job tonight. Gets his golden ticket into the series, and now we play the waiting game.
We wait. We don't know. And I can tell you everything is unofficial. That's the only thing I do know. The other thing I do know, Warboys is in. Sam Blacklock will be in. Ryan O'Sullivan, Veld, Kuznetsov, Pereira, Freer. I know all of those drivers in. I'm confident Angus Lawford's in. Will be a candidate for the AOTX Revolution e-racing car. Solo campaign for him. Gets a 10th spot from the Red Bull Ring. He will be very, very proud of that result, and he will be hanging on to that one and having a crack next year. That much is for sure. He challenged himself this year. Didn't expect much. He's actually done quite well. That's the top 10 as they finished out on the track. But then it's this next 10. They are where everything starts to shake itself up. Jordan Mazzaroli, home in 11th spot. From there, it'll be Will Sapstead. Although he does have a 5-second time penalty to pay for. He will slide down the order from Rain Campbell, from Leo Duncan. Philippa Bokita finishes in 15th. Ross Rizzo from Ryan Jones. Jamie Dyke ahead of Brad Newman and Tice Hodge. Newman will be on his way to the Pro Series as well. How many Lobs Esports cars are we going to have in 2026? Will be a whole roster and more of them, and they've got a mission to try and find some co-drivers as well. Still waiting on some final results and stuff to come through to us, but that's through to the top 20. Kurt Stenberg home in 21st spot, and just on the outside, had a smooth, nice, cool, calm and collected. And for Wayne Walker, think about turn 1, lap 1, and he just had to live from there. He knew what he had. Comes home in 23rd spot. He was half a second away from Brian Borg ahead of him. He was 0.2 of a second. He was 1.5 seconds away from Brian Borg. He was 0.2 of a second ahead of William Brown. And we've got an update that the time penalty has been applied to Will Sapstead, so we do have an update on that one. But we don't have a final time penalty or anything to come. And this is the tail end of the field. Ignore Damon Mulqueen. He is actually our series photographer. He's in there making sure that all the drama was captured in its entirety. Well, the important part is that as much as we've absolutely lost the plot, so did the graphics there for a moment because they had to work fairly hard. This is the points graphic for anyone who didn't grab themselves a golden ticket. So remember that Blake Warboys is not included in this one. Blackhawk will get in by a country mile, 72 points to the next driver. O'Sullivan, Freer, Ryan Jones, Horton, Brad Newman, Kurt Stenberg, all of those in. I think there's actually potentially a penalty. Oh, I've got news, but we'll work our way through this points graphic before we get there. Brad Newman in. I thought there was potentially a points. I did hear something that there was some discussions around car number 3. I don't know what's going on there. Stenberg, number 9, that's in. Unfortunately, we require a driver to actually be in the server for them to show on our graphics. Jake Burton not here tonight. Qualifies in 9th spot. Only did 3 of the 4 races. Therefore, proves you can do it. Angus Lawf will be in 10th spot. And here's where it gets interesting. Rain Campbell, Dylan Pereira, Rick Kuznetsov, James Chastaneff, Daniel Poulton, Philippa Bokita, Wayne Walker. 4 points ahead Philippa Bokita, so it didn't even come back to the tiebreakers in the end. Matt Ciroli finishes just on the outside. Dead heat with Will Buchanan, which is important for that one. Right. The rest of the points, not all that relevant because they're not close to the cut line. I've just had a decision handed to me by our stewards. I can confirm at this point in time, and again, results will remain provisional until they are announced as official. Car 326, Philippa Bokita, contact, lap 43, turn 9, car 023, Leo Duncan. No further action, no penalty. Philippa Bokita is the final driver to qualify for the series in 2026. And I can't believe that the checkered flag flew and then we had to wait a couple minutes to find that out.
Well, like you said, they're still not official. That's we're waiting for the official word, but that's what we're hearing. So, mate, tell you what, going down to that last lap and still not knowing who was in, and we're only talking by a couple of points that Philippa Bokita got her way in, and boy, oh boy, what an exciting 4-round championship. That has been an absolute cracker.
What a banger. And it gets condensed into 4 weeks in a row. And of course, the Tuesday night offering as well to make sure that guys who could, who were on their way to Bathurst this weekend for the 12-hour, and Jack Wittes is actually one of those guys. And I'm actually going to point that out. I think Wittes might have been in if he'd logged laps. I've got to be honest with you. I think he was in. So that one's going to be important. There was actually one further penalty, which was Tice Hodge picks up a 5-second penalty for contact with Kurt Stenberg. None of that matters right now. Blake Warboys, how are you, mate? Back to the series, back in form, and back in business.
Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise. It's been good to show some pace, especially with the lack of laps I've been able to do with work and stuff. So it's, it's more of a credit to the team, the setups more, and just that little bit of race prep, I guess, that's really helped along the way.
Mate, the graphic and everything on the board, signage board in the background, that was your wedding wasn't only a couple of weeks ago. I feel like it was much earlier, wasn't it?
No. So the previous weekend, we decided to surprise everyone at our daughter's first birthday with our wedding. So, yeah, it was a bit of a shock for everyone, but it was 43-degree day, so nice and hot, and we were melting, especially once I put the penguin suit on. But no, it was it was a good day, really good day to spend with family, friends, and stuff.
I think it's really interesting to a driver, and sorry to cut you off, to a driver and their development. You had a really interesting opportunity. Obviously, 1-year-old child in the middle of all this last year, an opportunity to walk away from the series, take some time out, and sort of relax and rebuild yourself back up to the very best. Do you think that's actually critical? Because you're nearly coming back into this after some time off as a fresh person. You can throw yourself wholly and utterly into this, knowing I've had some time away, I'm a new person, but I've still got all those learnings that I've had over the last year as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I've stopped stressing about racing, I guess, so much. I guess once I turned 30, the brain switched to being that bit older and a bit wiser. The few grey hairs start coming out. So, you sort of just get in your zone a bit more. But then also having, Troy Stone Street and J Ross in, sort of doing that little bit of coaching while we're racing has been a massive thing as well, just to keep our cool, give us gaps, fuel mileage, and that sort of stuff. It's been good to go away, have a break, link up with SSR and 9.5, and come back, and it's nice to be battling up the front.
Mate, congratulations. I know how much this one will mean to you as well. It's been a pleasure to see you go on this journey, take some time out, but still get all the benefit out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, final golden ticket holder for qualifying series 2026. Blake Warboys, who would you like to give a thank you to?
A massive shout out to 9.5 and SSR for bringing our team on and giving myself and all the boys a lot of help. To WKMP Sim Sports, as always, Wodonga Karts and Parts, Croc Promotion Karts Australia, Poor Guys Adelaide, LGC Images. I've lost my cheat sheet for all our sponsors. So sorry to anyone I've missed. And to Gem for letting me get on when Avery is settled. Especially now she's sort of a toddler. She carries on a little bit, but still cute as ever. Family, friends, and everything for support, and the whole broadcast and crew and everyone for putting on this series. It's good fun.
Congratulations, mate, on the way in. And the biggest question: how long before she gets her first sim rig?
Well, she's already got a Mustang little car that I drive her around in, so probably not long.
Start them young, fire them up.
Yeah.
The next generation of sim racing stars in this country are in safe hands. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's golden ticket winner, Blake Warboys.
Thanks, guys.
And walking down to the driver who's managed to walk away with a whole bag of points, kit caboodle, and a wicked wing to boot. Thanks to your partner for throwing you under the bus there, Sam Blacklock. But we hear that your co-driver for 2026 has already been lined up. Unfortunately, they need a haircut and their feet to reach the pedals.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Would have loved to have won that last race, but Blake just was too good. And, we gave it everything, but it just wasn't enough. So I suppose if you factor in everything, that's probably the best we could do tonight. And I'm pretty stoked with it.
Mate, challenging walk back into the series. It's been a while away from racing at the top level. Obviously an opportunity to partner up with James Scott last season. What were the learnings that walked away from that? Obviously, you constantly push yourself. You're always trying to improve and run at the top, but an opportunity to go and race alongside James Scott again. You can't pass that up.
Yeah. I don't think last year sort of went to plan as much as both myself and James hoped, but I learned little bits and pieces there. The big things have really come sort of the last I'd say month and a bit. The team has just been working so damn hard on getting this car competitive for all three of us that competed, and the amount of work that's gone on behind the scenes has even shocked me. Tyson Broad meant to be probably taking part in this, and he thought he was going to miss it due to work, so he stood aside, and he kind of regrets that now because he probably could have had a crack. But the amount of work even he's done, despite not racing, the base of our setup for both qualifying and race tonight came from all his work, and then I was able to come in and put a little bit more work on top of it. And I'm just absolutely stoked for everyone that all the hard work's paid off, and we've got 2 cars through.
Walk us forward a month into the future and the prep and the build up to Sebring. V8 supercars rumbling in action from a track that's built a lot of drama for us. So what is the end of that race look like to you? Obviously, a win is everyone's poster child that they'd love to stick in the resume. But if you're going, okay, we banked number 1 in points, where do you think that actually shakes out when you get to the main game?
Yeah, it's really hard to know, and I suppose once we get to the end of that Sebring race, we'll probably know a little bit more. But I think as silly as it sounds, to be in the top 20 in the main series would be a good start. But I think we've got myself and Capel. I think we're both capable of more. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. See what we can do with the car for Sebring, and I think anything inside the 20 we'll take. But I think we'll be aiming to get amongst the 10 and see where things shake out later in the season as well.
Finally, I've heard a lot of thank yous for all the team members that are out and around you, but anyone that you've missed at this point that you'd love to give a shout out to, and a thanks for actually making this possible for you and the team.
Big thanks to my partner G. Obviously, he's let me jump on the sim quite a bit, especially this last month. Big thanks. I'm sure she's not complaining too much. She doesn't have to put up with me for a few hours at a time, so that's always good for her. But big shout out also to spotters, everyone that's jumped in and helped out for everyone this series. Brad Ratu as well, and Capel, all the setup work and strategy planning. And obviously, shout out to the Wicked Wing as well. I'll probably get my toes bit off if I didn't thank him. So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, your points winner at the end of the qualifying series for 2026. He will add his name to the list of our main game drivers. Speaking of the main game, here it comes. And if you were thinking about being anywhere else on a Wednesday night, there'll be none of that, because the Logitech V8 Pro Series have got it all coming your way. But it's not just in things with 4 wheels that go in both directions. Oh, we've got the things that like to get it right out and slideways as well. Pre-qualifying is coming our way for the Porsche Pro Series new in 2026. It replaces GT Pro from last series. We just spoke to a man who was on a team with a bunch of guys who managed to win one of those rounds last year. Can they bring something to the fore in terms of Porsche Pro? Who is going to shake the cats amongst the pigeons? I can tell you, Rick Kuznetsov is damn quick in one of those 992 cars. Will we see him amongst those names when we get to the end of February? The first round to kick us all off in terms of main game racing action, the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series returns in all its glory to bring a place that never fails to deliver on the drama. What does 2026 hold? Volusia is where we head to the very next week after that, on March the 25th, when we get for the first time to see the things with the big old wings. They're right out there slideways, and it's the Sprint Car Pro Invitational Series on the dirt. Take a look at the graphics in behind in some of those tracks. You can see the clay has come to bite. In terms of the Porsche Pro Invitational Series, they'll kick us off from the 1st of April. And by the way, that's no joke. It is actually going racing on the 1st of April. Will the results be inverted on that day? You can only find out by tuning in on each of those dates. The calendar, here it comes. It's yet to unfold. Motorsports Arena Oschersleben and the Rudskogen Motor Centre are the pre-qualifying venues from February 25th to the 28th. Who is going to be a master when you take the engine out of the front and you put the thing in the rear? Who is going to master the 992.2? Who will be racing in that series in 2026? We've decided 40 entrants so far. We've decided a 41st entrant from last year's co-driver clash. We have decided 4 entrants in the background to come our way in terms of the wild cards. How about the guys who like to rip it right up and against the fence? More on that to come on Wednesday, March 25th. From 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, we'll have the LCJ Carpentry Big Gator Bash for Lucia Speedway. Sandman, a cool speedway.
We're going dirt racing, buddy. How good's that? Love it. Love to see a bit of dirt track in action, and it's really going to be a great series. I've seen some of the names ripped through there, and there's going to be no shortage of action on that. Love my oval tracking. Good to see some dirt speedway coming to our screens. And Wednesday night, it's going to be the way to be, isn't it? Just lock in, and you got plenty to choose from, whether it be supercars, Porsche Cup, or dirt.
That's the big thing. In 2026, the whole goal of this series and the step forward that we take as a community is that Wednesday nights, this is the only place for your eyes to be pointed. The 2026 Logitech G V8 Pro Championship Series kicks off from Sebring on Wednesday, the 18th of March, 7:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You do not need... Sorry, it won't be AEDT then. It'll be AEST by that point in time. No, it's the end of... No, never mind. There's too much math in this time zone stuff. Forget it.
Even the cows are confused, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Righto. So the important part that you guys need to know is you don't need a ticket. You just got to be here. Trackside, sim side. Ah, man, what is 2026 going to look like? There is 12 months in a year. There is only 8 months we go car racing. It's all condensed. It's all to come. And Blake Warboys punches a golden ticket. See you in a couple weeks to get everything underway for 2026.